So first thing first, we are going to cover a few different things today, but primarily everything is in color page in DaVinci Resolve, and then there are a few things that we need to cover. So primarily it's primaries, okay? The whole thing that we are learned today is going to be primaries, meaning the basics of color correction, color grading, and basically color, like I would say, the basics of it. And then is basically the contrast. What is contrast? Okay, and then what is color temperature, and how did my adjustment actually affects how we feel and things like that. And I will go through with you step by step, the very basic thing, but very, very important thing. Okay, so first of all, I would like everyone to do is to learn how to import again. Okay, I'm sure last week we have already covered. So first, I would like everyone to launch your DaVinci Resolve. Okay, let me share my screen, yeah? All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. So again, we are back to DaVinci Resolve, okay? And then, first thing first, I will need you guys to go into Untitled Project, okay? An empty project. We don't use whatever we used last week, okay? This is a brand new project, and we are not going to use what Paul used last week. This is a total different material, okay? So go into Untitled Project. Okay, when you click into Untitled Project, I will need you to import again. So for those of you who did not attend the class, okay, and for those of you who already attended the class last week, you guys know how to do this already. First of all, I need you guys to create a shortcut in the media page. Okay, the first page of DaVinci Resolve media page. First, okay, go to media storage over here. This thing, media storage. All right, at the top left of the user interface, click on it. And then you will see a list of hard disks usually, okay? So for those of you who did not come to the class, I need you guys to right click on it, add a new location. And then if you guys are on Mac or Windows, okay, just choose desktop. Because I've already mentioned all the color materials should save on the desktop, so it's easy access, okay? So just select desktop or either where you save the material, either in the download page or whatsoever. And then you go into the shortcut, okay? For my case, it's desktop, and for most of you who attended the class, should be the same, okay? And then look for your color material folder, okay? Color material folder. When you click into color material folder, you should be able to see 6 different shots, okay? 6 different footages, okay? So I'll need you guys to simply select all by click and drag your mouse like that. Or for those of you who like to use keyboard, for Mac, Command A, select all, or Windows, Control A to select all, okay? Or simply just click and drag. After you have selected all the footage, I'm sure you guys know this step already, drag and drop into your master bin or your media pool. Okay, in this case today we are going to focus solely on color, so I'm not going to teach you again how to create bins and things like that. Okay, so just drop into master bin, drag and drop. Okay, and then you will see DaVinci Resolve will pop out this thing. The clips have a different frame rate than the current project settings. Would you like to change? Just select change. Okay, so change it, and then it will be imported. Right now, let's skip all the way to color page, okay, which is the third from counting from the right, okay, color page, okay, click on it, and then we will be head over into the beautiful color page. So this color page depends on how big your screen size is or the resolution of your screen is, so it will see a little bit different. Okay, a little bit different, the UI will look a bit different. So for those who have smaller screen like a MacBook Pro 13-inch, you won't be able to see color wheels and curves like mine, okay? Usually it will look like everything has been patched together, okay? But they are still the same, okay? The functions and everything, they're still the same. All these little thumbnails, they will still be there, Okay, so first of all, I would like to introduce you the legendary color page inside DaVinci Resolve. Okay, so first of all, you will be able to see a few things that's similar from the edit page, right? Which is the screen. Yes, the screen. Okay, hey, wait a minute. I think I missed one step, yeah? Okay, guys, let's go back to edit page. Okay, and then select all the clips, right-click them, create new timeline using selected clips. So sorry, I forget about this. I say, okay. And you create a new timeline. You can name it as my color workshop. Okay, something like that. And then just create. And automatically all the clips will be available in your beautiful timeline. Okay. All right. So I need everybody to do this, yeah? Okay. Cool. So I'm sure now everybody has already done that because it's quite a straightforward step. Okay, let's go to the color page. So inside color page here, again, you will see whatever you always see on the edit page and your cut page and even your media pool, okay, which is the screen. Okay, this screen is everywhere. This is the thing that you need to refer to. Okay, and then I'm going to start to introduce every single thing to you. Okay, so first, gallery. What is a gallery? A gallery is basically a place where it actually will save my information of my color grading if I want to into a still. But today, again, we won't cover all these advanced things, okay? But I just need to go through with you what they do, okay? So this is the gallery page, okay? So what I can do is I color something, and then I can always right-click on my screen here, right-click, grab still, and then it will save a still inside my gallery for my reference users, okay? So today I won't be covering that, I just need to show you, okay? LUTs. What is LUTs? LUTs is actually a short form of look up tables, okay? For people that, okay, I will say for YouTubers or for those are a little bit lazy, okay? Filmmakers that who are a little bit lazy, we call them a preset. But for a colorist like me, myself, I will call them lookup tables are actually a mathematical calculation that transform a flat image into a normal looking image, I would say. So for example, just now, if you remember looking at slides that I show you about Paul's short film, okay? The before image, there's very flat and no color. Okay, that is we call it the flat image, okay, or log image. I'll go through with you a bit more later. All right, okay. So basically, all these lookup tables are like having a, okay, let me show you first. So for example, Airy here, I click on Airy, it has like this thing. And then if you just hover over it, you will be able to see very fast that from like that, there's a very flat color, okay, flat color footage. If you just go hover it, all of a sudden it has a color already. Okay, so it's like a preset for you to instantly give you a striking color without doing anything technically. Okay, but that is not the purpose. Okay, so it's just basically a mathematical transformation. All right, so that is lookup tables. Okay, so today we won't use that. Don't worry, we are going to learn from the basics, meaning how do we even start to color. Okay, so next, media pool. Technically, we won't do anything on media pool in the color page. So, but I need to cover it again. Media pool is basically the same as your edit page. Whatever you see here in the media pool, everything will be brought over to the media pool here in color page as well. Okay, but we won't use it at all. All right, so next, on the top left again, timeline. Okay, what is timeline? This timeline over here, when you click on it, okay, you see like a very thin, small timeline suddenly appear in the color page. And what does it do? So what does it do is that it's basically showing you whatever you have edited in your edit page, okay, this timeline, but it's shrinked very small, and then for you to see what you have in your color page. So this is definitely useful, especially when we have like multiple layers of footages in my timeline, okay, so that I can always enable them and disable them. Okay, by clicking the small V1 or V2, V3, V4. Let's say if you have it, you just click to enable or disable. Okay, that is timeline. Okay, very well. So usually when we do color grading, all these things, we will usually close them because we always want the better real estate for my viewer or the screen here. Okay, so you can always click to enable it or off it. Okay, so this is very user friendly. All right, next thing I want to cover with you on the on the stuff here on the top right of the user interface. Okay, so what is clips? When we click on clips, we will be able to see a bunch of thumbnails appear. And what are they? They are basically the same as whatever you edit on the timeline, okay? If you can see, the first clip is a hot air balloon, and this is the second clip is close up eye, right? In your color page, it represented the same thing as well. Here, you can see the balloon, and this is your eye. So it's basically whatever you edit, again, it will be brought over just like timeline, and now in the bigger thumbnail mode on using the clip over here. Okay, very straightforward. Okay, again, all these little buttons here, you can always click to enable it, to show it, or hide it. Okay, all right, I'm gonna hide it first. Notes. What is notes? Okay, I'm sure a lot of people don't know what is notes. Okay, so basically, notes is a container that we do our color adjustment. Okay, so note is actually a very advanced way of doing like a post-production work. So you can always see notes in all the high-end visual effects software. For example, Fusion, for example, Nuke and stuff like that. All the high-end stuff, and also Autodesk Flame and Smoke and stuff like that. Okay, so I will show you how we work with notes later. They are very important, and they also can be worked very. They can be very complicated at some point, but we won't go there. But for us colorists, this is very, very useful because we can work very, very flexible. Okay. Next. Okay. What is open effects? Open effects. Open effects. Okay. But in full name, it's called open effects. Okay. So open effects is actually all the presets and plugins. And a lot of them have already built in inside DaVinci Resolve, but some of them can be used only at the pro version. So for example, what can be used on the free version is actually some of the easy things like the Gaussian blurs and things like that. Okay, all right. But usually all these open effects can take up very huge processing power, so we don't really use that, and we won't cover that today. Okay. But they are basically for advanced usage, usually, okay? And they are very complicated at some point, okay? Okay, so what is Lightbox? Lightbox is basically a view of, I would call it 1,000 feet view, where you'll be able to see whatever you have color graded in your DaVinci Resolve. So let's say if you have 100 clips over here, you'll be able to see 100 clips of them inside this Lightbox. Okay, this is especially useful, especially like in like a feature film, like a movie. You'll be able to see every single shot, every single scene by scene. Like, wow, what is this color? What is that color? Is it nice or not? Do they have continuity or not? And all these kind of things. Okay, all right. So that is Lightbox. Okay, and then right now I will cover with you this viewer here. Okay, so on top of the viewer, okay, you'll be able to change your timeline. So let's say, okay, this is basically what we have already covered last week about in your time edit page. You can always switch timeline by clicking the drop-down menu here, right? Okay, if let's say you have multiple timelines, you'll be able to see a lot of that. So same thing as the color page. So let's say you have already colored this short film, and then you want to go into another short film in the same project, you can always click here and select another timeline. Okay, cool, very well. And then there are a few things here that we will be always using. Okay, this one, this color wheel, and also like 3 little stars here. And then if you hold it there, you just leave your mouse there, it will tell you it's called bypass color grade and fusion effects. What does it do? Basically, it's showing you a total before. If let's say you have already do a lot of adjustment, you can click on this thing, and then it will show you the before color grade and after color. Okay. So next, Let me go through my slides. Yeah. Okay, so we have here time-lapse options. Okay, very well. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to cover whatever that's below here already. Okay, so here, color wheels. Okay, at the lower left of your DaVinci Resolve color page. Okay, again, for those of you who have like a smaller screen size, you might see everything patched together. But don't worry, I will show you exactly one by one. Okay, so let's go to the first thumbnail here that comes with a camera. Okay, click on it. This is called the camera raw tab. So let's say, for example, if you shot on high-end cameras that record in RAW, for example, for still photographers, I'm sure you guys know what is it, like the Canon RAW or the Sony RAW and whatsoever. All those files can actually be processed in post-production by clicking a few clicks, right? So it's the same thing in DaVinci Resolve as well. If you shoot in RAW, you can always change all the settings like how your camera behaves. Okay. Today we won't go into that. I just need you to know. Okay. Color match. Color match is basically like help you automatically do some color matching. If let's say you have like a color checker on set, so that it actually automatically translate the color for you. Okay. We don't have an example here, I'm so sorry, but let's say if you watch some behind the scenes of Hollywood movies, sometimes you will see like someone is holding like a bar, like a board like that, and then it has all these color patches, okay? So this is for them to do a quick color matching for different cameras and stuff like that, okay? And then the the third one is color wheels. Today, we are going to play a lot of things inside color wheels, okay? And also they are called primary wheels, okay? Inside there, they have different things. If you click on primary wheels, it has a drop-down menu of primary bars and also log, okay? But don't worry, we shouldn't look at all these advanced things first. Today, we are just going to solely focus on primary wheels only. Okay, leave gamma gate, offset, and all these things. Okay, so if let's say, if you click right underneath the color wheels, you will see page 1 and 2. Okay, so page 1 have like contrast, pivot, saturation, hue, lump mix. Lump mix is luminance mix. Okay, and then page 2, you'll be able to see temp, tint, temp meaning temperature. I'll cover more on that. MD, mid-tone detail, color boost, shadow, and highlights. Okay, I'll cover some of that. Don't worry. Okay, this one, do not ever click on this thing because I hate it. Okay, this is auto balance. Okay, for guys, if you guys want to learn with me, just don't click that thing. Okay, please don't. Okay, because whatever we do today will definitely cover whatever auto balance we'll be able to do. All right, and you can do better than them. Okay, next. This little eyedropper here is called white balance. Basically, if you have to select a shot and then use this thing to select like a white patch and then you automatic white balance for you. Don't worry, we won't cover that as well today because it's a little bit advanced. Okay, so next is an RGB mixer that you need to use it to do a lot of crazy little things that you can change the colors and stuff like that. Okay, very advanced stuff. And then motion effects, again, this one is only for the pro user. You can do noise reduction and stuff like that. And it will take out a lot of processing power, okay? So if you're using the free version, you cannot use here, actually, okay? So if let's say, if I want to use, right, it will tell me, you have reached a limitation with DaVinci Resolve and you cannot do anything about it anymore, okay? So you just press not yet. Okay, and then it will show you a watermark. Okay, because it will tell you, hey, you didn't pay for the pro version, so you cannot use this function, okay? All right, I'll just do a quick reset. Okay, now let's go into the second part here, okay? So I will say, here is called the primary section, okay? The one on the left side. Meaning we are going to do all our color, all our basic, and all our looks over here. And then only we will go into here, okay? The second section, the one in the middle, okay? So Let's go into it. So curves have like different kinds of curves for you to do some advanced color stuff. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't cover that today. But in the future, if let's say we have some advanced class, we can always cover this. Okay. So these are curves. Okay. You can also use this to do like color, some simple color grade and stuff like that over here. Okay. Qualifier. Okay. This is for you, this is for us to do some keying, okay, meaning I can use this to select a particular color and change it to some other color or modify that particular color, okay? So, remember just now in the theory class, we have hue, saturation, and luminance, remember? Okay, so basically if we do keying and stuff like that, we are always based on hue, saturation, and luminance, okay? And then the third one here is window, power window. Okay, power window, some of the people call it masking. Okay, these are the stuff that's so useful for all of us colorists to do a lot of advanced stuff. If we have time, please remind me to do an advanced demo for you so that I will show you what a colorist can do with all these tools. Okay, so stay tuned, stay on until the last minute. I'll show you some crazy stuff. Okay, okay. Then tracker. Tracker is a tracking system that automates my power window and then follows all the things that is moving in the shot. So for example, let's say here, I want to use my power window to like just selecting on this person. I can use my tracker to track on my power window and follow this guy. Okay, this is how powerful it is to use DaVinci Resolve. Okay, next. The blur tab. Blur tab basically allows us to do some blurring and sharpening. Okay, that is what we use for blur tab. Okay, and then key tab. The key tab here is basically we use it usually for opacity and stuff like that. Okay, and then sizing tab is where we can do like different sizing for our shots. So there are a lot of different sizings for advanced options, but just remember sizing is basically I can zoom in and zoom out some of my shots in my color page. Okay, and then 3D here, none of us can click into it. I think this is for a very advanced Hollywood guys to use for 3D stereoscopic and things like that. Okay, so next, this is okay. Here just now we call it the primary section. Okay, and then here I will call it the secondary section where we do a lot more advanced stuff once we're done with the stuff here in the primary section. All right, and then we will go into here. Here I will call it the monitoring section. Okay, you'll be able to see 3 different tabs here. The first one is keyframe tab. Okay, keyframe tab is where we do a lot of advanced keyframing. We can animate like our colors from changing this to that color and stuff like that. And the second one is called scopes. I'm telling you, this is a fear for every single beginner, but don't worry, we'll cover something basic over scopes, okay? Because it helps us to color better and to understand our footage a bit better. And then the last tab over here is called the info tab, okay? Right beside these scopes, okay? So the info tab basically shows us all our information on the clips over here. So if you guys haven't already, please click on the top right here to enable your clips, okay? To show your clips. Just click on one of the clips and then you'll be able to see all the information here, like the file name, the start time code, and all the advanced options like reference mode, frame rate, versions, okay, source res, codec, okay, and things like that, okay. Next, one last thing before we go into actual practice, okay, I would like to let you know that for the clips here, clip mode over here, if we double click, okay, on the name here, you'll be able to view different things. So here, if I double click on, let's say on my clip 2 down here, you'll be able to see GNHD 90x730p. But if you double click on it, it will change it to the original name of the clip, okay? And if you double click, you will see nothing, okay? So that is the power of using the clips section for you to see different things, okay? But usually we just stick to one option like, I just need to know what is the clip name, okay? And then if I right click on it, I'll be able to view a lot of things, okay? Cool. So that is the introduction of color page. And if let's say I've already done something to my clip, what happens is that you'll be able to see like a colored rectangle happens here. Okay, it will appear colored. But for those who have not have any adjustment, like for example, my 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, there is no color at all until I do some adjustment onto the clip. So right now, I will cover Color Basic 2.1. This is chapter 2.1. Let me show you my slide. Chapter 2.1. I will teach you what is contrast. Okay, contrast basically means, okay, the proper definition of contrast. The proper definition of contrast, no matter in a color world or either just when we are just casually speaking and talking, contrast basically means the difference between one thing and another, correct? Okay, but in color grading world, contrast basically means the differences between the brightest area and the darkest area. Okay, so remember this word contrast, and you will be able to see. Okay, let's go into one of the clip first. Everybody have slow-mo clip here? The guy in the big hula hoop. That is like a very cool looking video. Okay, the name is called slow-mo. All right, so everybody click on the slowmo.mxf clip. Okay, click on it. Okay, so everybody will be looking at the same thing. All right, so next, I will need you guys to go down, use your mouse to go down here to the lower left of your DaVinci Resolve. And on page 1, under primary views here, okay, the third section, the third tab here, you'll be able to see this word, contrast. Okay, so contrast will actually give us the adjustment to adjust our contrast. Okay, by very straightforward speaking. I will demo and show you how does it work. Okay, I'm going to hide my clip here first, so we have a bigger space to see. Okay, so by default, we are always selecting our node number 1. Okay, at the nodes here, we usually call this node 3. Okay, the right side of your viewer, this is the node. Okay, we usually by default, if there's nothing that's already adjusted, it's always on node 1. Okay, so we go down under color views, we will click on contrast, click on the numbers. Okay, click and drag to the right. As you can see, now my clips has like a certain adjustment on it, and it looks entirely different than this, correct? Okay, so I can start from like that. This is no adjustment. Click and drag to the right, and you'll be able to see now my clip become wow, correct? Okay, so this is contrast. Contrast will always make something looking more striking. In this scenario, okay, what the contrast do is that it makes all the shadow, which is here, you see the darker at the wall here, the darker parts, and then also the shadow of the hula hoop and the guy, it becomes darker when I click and drag to the right, correct? Okay, the shadows become darker, and then the brightest part of the image, like his body over here, the highlight parts, and then all the brighter parts here, it becomes even brighter. Okay, so now I'd like to show you how to do the before and after. So you go on top of your viewer, remember this thing, the color wheel with the 3 little star here. This is called bypass color grade. Click on bypass, and you'll be able to see instantly before and after of your color correction. Okay, so contrast has usually it's 2 options lah. It's either high contrast and low contrast. High contrast is basically something like that. High contrast meaning my shadow is very dark. At the same time, my highlights, okay, my highlights are very bright. in the picture, we always use shadow, midtones, and highlights. Okay, always remember, shadows, midtones, and highlights. We will always use this term when we do color correction. Okay, so contrast, okay, we always, when we increase the contrast, always the darker parts, the shadow will become darker. The brighter parts, the highlight will always become brighter. This actually just defines contrast. There's a difference between the shadows and the highlights. Okay, everybody with me? All right. So if let's say, if you kind of feel that the contrast is way too high, you can always click and drag on your contrast towards to the left. Okay, so this will create a lower contrast image where you will see from like that, a very high contrast image. All of a sudden you see more things and also become more gray color and flat. Okay, this is over low contrast image. Okay, this is overly gray. I just overdo it so you can see the difference between this and this. Okay, so that is contrast. Okay, so we usually use contrast to increase depth of field, or either we usually make our primary subject, which is now this guy playing with the huge hula hoop here, okay, this gymnast, to make him look more striking. And now we have the central focus on this huge pool of light and also him. And he instantly look a bit more masculine, as you can see, because when we increase our contrast, all these little details have been intensified. Okay, so this is the difference of high contrast and low contrast. So low contrast we usually see like everything looks normal, very soft, very flat. But when we increase our contrast, you will instantly see, wow, this looks so stunning, correct or not? Okay, so that is contrast. Okay, so if let's say when you overdo your contrast and stuff like that already, in DaVinci Resolve, you always can reset whatever you have done. So how do we reset is, you can double click on your contrast word here. Okay, just double click. And then instantly, your value here from just now, 1.476, double click, it will become 1.0. Okay, this is reset. Okay, again, I repeat, double click to reset. Or either, if let's say for leaf gamma gain wise, there's always a reset button over here. Okay, it depends on what you are using and what you're doing. Okay, but whatever the bar here, lower bar here on page 1 or page 2 under color wheels, the contrast, the pivot, saturation, whatsoever, you can always click and drag to do your adjustment. Double click, reset. Okay, very well. Okay, so after we have used contrast, right? Now I need you guys to follow me through what is pivot. Okay, so right now I'm going to increase my contrast again. Everybody have a look here. Okay, click and drag to the right. Now I increase my contrast. Okay, and then I can use my pivot here to actually make it more intensified or less intensified, but it also huge widely related to my contrast over here. Okay, so this pivot is usually make things darker or make things brighter. Okay, I'm showing you another example. If let's say I'm going to a very soft image like, sorry, let me reset everything. Okay, so let's say just now I'm on high contrast, right? And then adjust my pivot. It can look very bright or very dark. Okay, but if let's say I want to go back to my original and then make it to very flat, very low contrast, I can still adjust my pivot and make it very dark or very bright like that. Okay, and then you can always adjust your contrast again to make things brighter or darker. Okay, so but a lot of times when we use contrast, it's not only to say, hey, can you increase my contrast to make things brighter or darker? Usually we don't say that because when we do any contrast adjustment, it's basically to actually to differentiate the difference between your shadow and your highlights like that, or either to make it less difference like that, which is totally great. I'm sure everybody understands a bit of contrast already, but honestly, to really understand contrast, I need to show you a very advanced thing. But don't worry, I will pull your hand like my future son, my baby, or my daughter, and my wife together, hold hands together, and then we go and see a movie together, okay? All right, I'll hold your hand and let's go through this process, no worries. Okay, so everybody remember what is scopes? If not, don't worry. Let's go to our info section here, okay? The lower right of your DaVinci Resolve here. Click on this thing that looks like a graph, okay? Which is in the middle of keyframe and the info tab. Click on this thing, okay? And then you'll be able to see scopes, and then it will show you parade, okay? Now I need you guys to extend it. How do we extend it? We have to go to here. Okay, if you see parade over here, you'll be able to see this extend button, okay, which is in the middle of these sliders and the three dots, okay? This one. When you click on this, you'll be able to see 4 different scopes appear, and then you'll be able to see parade, waveform, vector scope, and histogram, correct? Okay, so all these are different scopes. And today, we'll only focus on one of them. Okay, so everybody look at the scopes here, okay? And then you will have to select this one, a big rectangle over here. Currently, it's selecting on the 4 different rectangle, right? So that you can see 4 different scopes. Now we need you to select only on one. Okay, select one. All right, and then change it to waveform. This is what we are going to cover today. Okay, but before I do anything and explain anything about scope, I'll go back to the edit page first. You guys can stay here. Okay, no worries. This is just for teaching purposes. Okay, I'll go to edit page first, yeah? Edit page. Close my scope first. All right. I will use a tool to help you guys understand what really is contrast and how it really works. Very important, okay? Bear with me. Go, okay, I'll go into Effects Library, go into Generators under Toolbox, and then look for Grayscale. Drag and drop it into your timeline. Right click, create new compound clip. Okay, you guys don't have to follow this, but if you guys are interested, okay, you can follow as well. Just go to Effects Library, okay, select Generator Grayscale, drag and drop into your timeline, right click on it, create new compound clip. Okay, and then you will see new compound clip, and then you have to rename it. You don't have to rename it, it's fine, just press create. All right, now we have already created a compound clip, and you'll be able to see a grayscale, which is, I'll go back to the color page now, which is, you'll be able to see a gradient of black slowly go into gray color and go into my brightest area of the gradient, which is, we call it highlights, okay? Shadow, midtones, highlights, and then open back your scope again. Okay, extend it, make sure you're on the waveform and only on a single viewer. Okay, and then you'll be able to see a straight line on waveform monitor. Okay, and then you see these weird numbers and then a straight line and then different dots, right? What does that mean, right? Okay, let me explain to you very quick. So whatever you see here in our viewer is a gradient of black to white. Same thing. Here, the value here shows us here 0. 0 meaning the absolute black, the darkest part of your footage. Okay? Slowly, it fades into gray color. And now in the middle frame, you'll be able to see gray color. Same goes to the scopes, okay? We usually analyze our shots here from left to right. Same goes to scopes. We're analyzing from left, from the absolute black, slowly going into middle here, which is the same here. This is the gray color. And then go into the brightest part at the right frame, which is here. Okay, here is telling us at the right frame here, you have the brightest part of the image happening here at the viewer. Okay, in your footage, there is a smooth gradient of shadow going into mid-tones, going into highlight. I'm sure you guys don't understand anything. The first time when I watched a tutorial, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, don't worry. Now, everybody follow me. Okay, if you look at contrast, okay, this contrast here will exactly tell me what am I doing to my footage, okay? Now, I'm going to click on my contrast, click and drag to the right. I'm increasing my contrast, correct or not? Okay, remember, clicking to the right is increasing my contrast. As you can see now, my image here, okay, on my viewer, from before is a smooth gradient of shadow, midtones, and highlights. Black, gray, and white. And now when I increase my contrast, you suddenly see I've increased my shadow, I have more blacks, I have more whites, but less gray, correct or not? Okay, as you can see here in the scopes, again, it's telling you the same thing. Now we have more shadows, more blacks on the left side of our image, and then there is a very tight, steep gradient here, okay, slowly going up, which means here is from the darkest part of the image, slowly shoot up all of a sudden to the brightest part of the image here. And then here is where our highlight is, okay? And it forms an S shape, okay? So basically whatever you're seeing now is we have increased our contrast, meaning I'm showing you the huge difference of my brightest area and my darkest area, correct? Remember contrast, okay? So now if let's say I'm actually increased my contrast until the maximum, what will happen? So now everybody follow me. Click and drag until the absolute maximum. Okay, so now you can see that there is no gray anymore because I've increased my contrast until I fully eliminated my gray areas, and it only show my full contrast, which is full shadow and full highlight. As you can see in the scopes here, again, same thing is telling you, wow, now your whole shot have no gray areas at all. And you can only see, wow, only shadows and only highlights. Okay, so this is how we actually use scope to actually identify our contrast. Okay, so now let's say, for example, I increase my contrast again into maximum, and now I want to show you what does pivot do. Pivot is basically telling you I'm moving my middle point of my grays, and then I'm moving towards the left or to the right. Okay, when I move towards to the left, you will see more white area. And when I move to the right, you will be able to see more shadows and blacks. Okay, so this is the usage of pivot. Contrast and pivot needs to work together. Okay, I'm sure, again, you guys will be definitely confused like apa ni, contrast and pivot. But let me show you again on a clip. Okay, so let's select on our slow-mo clip again. Okay, as you can see, waveform here has actually different colors, but usually I will go into my slider option over here, click on it, and then deselect colorize, and then you'll be able to see only black and whites. Okay, the black and whites matter the most. Okay, so now again, everybody follow me. Increase the contrast of the shot until the maximum. Okay, as you can see, I break the image already. But right now with the maximum contrast, I can only see what? I can only see the brightest area and the shadow area. There's no in between anymore. Okay, there's no more like other information like what happened to the wall? I can't see the wall now, right? If let's say I'm increasing my contrast into maximum, there's no detail in the wall at all. Okay, so usually we use contrast to develop our shot to give it like looking nice, like something like that. If you want it intense, you always increase your contrast. If you want it to be less intense, you decrease your contrast to make it look softer. Okay, that is the magic of contrast. Okay, and we usually use scopes to identify how big the contrast is. Okay, is it high contrast? Is it low contrast? So I want to show you again one last thing before we go into break. Okay, so if we increase my contrast, let's look at my scope here. When I increase my contrast, you will see here this one. Okay, this is now telling me in my shot at the left here, I have the shadows, which is this one, and the highlights, which is here, the brighter parts of the image. Okay, so when I increase my contrast, you'll be able to see now my darker area goes into darker and darker, right? Same here. Now, from just now, this one here, the waveform here, from 256, it becomes almost 0. And you can see here, now the background becomes darker. And then here, this brighter parts represents here. Okay, this one, around at the 67, 68 here. Okay, you can see that now, okay, from like that, okay, like that, not very bright, and now I make it damn bright. Okay, as you can see now, my scopes here is going up. So I'm expanding my scopes. Okay, so when you see your scopes look like that, meaning you have very bright part in your image and also very dark part in your image. If let's say a footage looks like that, you know that, oh, this footage doesn't have a very high contrast, it's quite low contrast, okay? Because this doesn't, your brightest part of the shot did not hit 1023, meaning the brightest part, okay? So 1023 is the brightest part of is basically your highlights, and 0 is your shadow, absolute black, absolute white. Let me show you an example. Increase my contrast. As you can see here, now this is very bright and absolute black, 0. Next thing after scope, I hope everybody starts to understand a bit of contrast and how it works already. But don't worry, because scope is just a tool that helps us to understand. If you don't understand scopes, it's fine. If you want to learn more about scopes, there are so many different other resources out there in Google or YouTube to help you understand. Because this thing won't take a day or like just a few minutes to understand. No way, never. Okay? If you really want to understand scopes, you can always go to YouTube and find out how to actually understand how it works. Okay? I'm just here to show you the tools and try to help you to understand a bit more about scopes. Okay? I'm using scopes solely to help you to understand what is contrast. Okay? So, like I first explain to you what is contrast. Contrast is basically difference. That is the rule of thumb. Contrast equals to difference. The difference between the brightest area and the darkest area. The higher the contrast, the darker the shadow is, and the brighter the highlight is. Okay, that is the rule of thumb. I will show you one of the most common tools that you will see in every single editing software is called color wheel. Okay, color wheel, yeah. So I will close my scope first for a while, and we will stick to I'll stick to this shot first. Okay, stick to this what is it called? The slow-mo shot first. The guy in the hula hoop. Okay, so again, usually when we start color grading, the first thing first that I teach you is contrast, correct or not? Again, same to color grading, the first thing that we always do when we receive a footage is increase the contrast first to see how the shot should look like, and how do you want it to look like, and how should it be, okay? So first of all, when I look at this shot, I'll go into my contrast here, contrast slider, increase my contrast, okay? Something like that, okay? I'll hide my clips here first, yeah? Okay, extend it a bit. Okay, so I kind of feel that, wow, actually this is quite a nice footage already, even with just a bit of contrast applied. Okay, this is before, this is after. You can see that, wow, it's intensified already. But what if someone actually tells you, I want to adjust only at the shadows and the highlights and the midtones, can? Answer is yes, you can. Okay, so this is where the color wheels here comes to play. Okay, so you'll be able to see lift, gamma, and gain. So what is lift, gamma, and gain? What does it mean, right? Like, why is it called lift, gamma, gain? Okay, let me explain to you. Lift is actually our shadow. Gamma is our midtones. Gain is our highlight. Okay, so how does it work? So usually we will use our contrast first to do our contrast. Okay, something like that. Now we already increase our contrast. And now I want to, let's say, I want to darken my shadow. What should I use? I will use my lift control here. Don't use the wheel, okay? Don't use the wheel here. We use the slider here, okay? Right on top of the 𝐻𝑟GB000 here, you will see a slider. Click on this thing. You can slide left to make it darker, slide right to make it brighter, okay? But as you can see, when I'm dragging my lift, you see now when I'm dragging into left, right? Yes, it becomes darker, but I don't see it's only affecting my shadow because lift, gamma, and gain is designed to affect solely, for example, lift, it affects solely on my shadow, but it also overlaps a bit into my midtones and highlight. Okay, same goes to gamma and gain. Gain is highlight, so let me show you what happened. So if I click and drag my gain to my right side, okay, you see it becomes dramatically brighter. But at the same time, also the background here, the wall, it was supposed to be like this dark, correct or not? But when I increase my gain, okay, not only here becomes brighter, but it also affects our wall. Why? Why is it like that, right? Okay, let me show you in Stokes again. Okay, I will go back into my, just now my grayscale here, the compound clip. Okay, let me explain to you. Okay, so how actually Stokes work is that, okay, when I work with my lift just now, okay, it actually, when I bring up, you can see that, okay, you can see that not only my shadow here, the dark part here, the blacks here, becomes brighter, correct or not? It also becomes gray, and then whatever in the midtones also got affected, okay? And then slowly eat into our highlights. And now you can see that everything becomes pure white. Because it's designed like that, it's meant to overlap into your midtones and your highlight, okay? Same goes to my gain. If I increase my gain like this, you can see that there's a fine line over here starting to eat into our midtone as well. Okay, so let's go back into my slow-mo shot. Okay, so let's say I reset my lift and gain first. Okay, I'm going to reset. Again, go back to my normal contrast first, the contrast adjustment. Increase my gain a bit. Okay, just a bit. And then increase my gamma a bit. You can see everything becomes brighter, right? Still, it's a very high contrast image, but everything becomes brighter, okay? And then when I bring up, usually when I bring up something or leave gamma again, I will bring down something to counter it, okay? If you want to increase your contrast, you bring up your gamma, bring up your gain, and then bring down your lift. Okay, so that you bring back of your shadow details, you crush it a bit, so that it looks like that. Okay, so this is still a very high contrast image. But right now, let's say you feel that, too bright already, not so nice. What do? You can always decrease your gamma so that you can always maintain the brightest area to be this intense, and then bring down your gamma, which is a midtones, to make things look more like, wow, give it a kick, okay? And my mouse is a bit too sensitive, so let me bring down a bit. There you go. And then decrease more. So you can feel that, wow, from like very bright, you can see everything. Suddenly you feel like, oh, now I focus on the talent here. and then the ring here looks very like, wow, so cantik. This ring like got detail, like very shining like that. Okay, so this is the power of contrast. Okay, it intensifies things. But what if let's say your client suddenly come in actually and say, hey, actually this shot now was meant to be like a flashback, romantic flashback. Okay, what do you do? So if you remember, when we say romantic, it's always something soft. Okay, not so high contrast, and then a soft, and then a bit more soothing, right? So if we increase my contrast, you feel very intense and very impactful. But now we don't want it to be so impactful. This is a flashback of something romantic, right? Okay, so what we can do is we can increase our lift a bit, which is our shadow, make it softer, yeah, something like that, and then increase our gamma to make everything soft. Okay, again, when we increase something, we always have to decrease something. Okay, so now again, I can decrease the gain a bit, something like that. Okay, so that you can see a huge transformation of high contrast and low contrast on the same image. Let me show you the example exactly. Okay, now you don't have to follow me. I just need to create another version to show you. Okay, so I'm going to my clip here, and then I have to create a new version, version 2. Okay, don't have to follow me, it's fine. Okay, I'm going to create a high contrast image with only lift, gamma, and gain. Okay, after using my contrast. So what I do is, again, I increase my gain, make it very bright, increase my gamma, make it very bright, something like that, and then I bring down my lift. Okay, Ayo, this is too much, sorry, let me undo. All right, way back. Okay, decrease my lift a bit, but now I feel, not so nice lah. Still very, doesn't feel anything, you know. Okay, again, color grading is about feel. Okay, so now I'm going into my gamma, again, bring down my gamma. So now you see there's a dramatic change. Suddenly it's like, wow, this is impactful. Okay, so now let me compare how does it look like with two different versions of color on a color adjustment on the same clip. Okay, so I'm going to show you two different versions. Now I will click into this rectangular box here. You'll be able to see versions. Okay, so here we are, right? Yes. Okay, so on the one on the left, is a very soft image. This is a low contrast image. Okay, and this is a high contrast image. Okay. All right, so this is contrast. It's either high contrast or low contrast. Why we emphasize so much about contrast is because a lot of times contrast is actually the main thing, the basic thing that makes our footage looks better, but also gives story and meaning into our shots. Okay, so contrast, very important thing. All right, I hope you guys learn a thing or two about contrast. All right, so a lot of times we usually use contrast and lift, gamma, gain together. But what if you are a very 𝐷𝐞 person? You suddenly say, babe, I really don't like using contrast adjustment. Can I use lift, gamma, gain only or not? I will say yes, but the results come up might be slightly different. Let me show you. Okay, I will again create a new version. If you guys want to learn how to, okay, select, okay, open up the clip, right click on your thumbnail, select local versions, create new version. All right, then you'll be able to see version 3. Okay, so how am I going to reset this picture into 0 adjustment? Okay, first here. All right, wait, okay, let's go into notes. This note here, right click on the note, reset note grade. Okay, click on it. And then you will suddenly see, no more color adjustment anymore. Okay, let me show you again. Right click, reset note grade. There you go. Okay, now it becomes original footage again. So I am not going to use contrast wheel at all. I mean, my contrast slider. I'm just going to use my lift, gamma, gain. and see what is the difference and how does it look like, okay? Please look at my adjustment here. First of all, I'll always go to lift first, okay? So I'm going to lift, again on my slider here, slide to the left to bring down my shadow first. As you can see now, straight away, it looks very different already, okay? Let me show you before, after, okay? Click on bypass, before, after. It's like, wow, not bad. It's quite nice already. But I kind of feel that it's still not impactful yet. Why? Because overall it feels a bit dark. Yes, you have bring down your shadow, but how about highlight, right? So now we go into gain. Increase my gain a bit. Look at his body. You will suddenly see, I can see the difference instantly. Like, wow, there's an impact on the shot already. You can see the shadows is darker on the body, and also you can see the highlight is getting brighter, okay? And now here comes to Gama. Gama is usually dealt according to taste, okay? So I'll usually bring up and see, okay, not so nice. And then slide to the left to bring it down, make it darker. Whoa, this is actually quite nice, right? This is like, wow. I can only see the muscles of this guy. I think you can use this technique to show the body structure, the body, what is it called? The body, what is it called? The body texture, okay? You can use different contrast to actually enhance the texture of something. In this case, I use lift Gama, okay? I use my lift, I darken my lift, brighten my gain, and then I drastically decrease my Gama, okay? If let's say increase back a bit, you suddenly see, okay, not bad, it's still quite impactful, but if compared to this one, this is wow, crazy. But this one is still wow, but I can see more things, okay? So it depends how, I would say how mystery you want it to give, okay? All right, so this is lift Gama gain. Let me show you, wait, let me decrease the Gama again. Okay, again, a very high contrast picture, right? And then now I show you the different versions, okay? So you go to the top left of your viewer, click on the second button here, this thumbnail, which has a lot of different boxes. This is called a split screen, okay? Click on it. And then go to your top right of your viewer, you'll be able to browse through a lot of things. You just have to select version, okay? And then you'll be able to see the 3 different versions that I created or you created, okay? So how do I go full screen? Full screen is actually by pressing a, this one. Beside a bypass here, you can see there is, oh, that's not the full screen. I'm so sorry. Okay, full screen is Shift F. If you press Shift F on your Mac or either Windows, you'll be able to see a full screen of your color grading. Okay, so Shift F. If you press Control F, it's a full screen. Shift F still gives you the DaVinci Resolve user interface. Okay, but for Mac user, Control is Command F. Okay, Windows user is Control F to achieve like a full screen playback. Okay. For those of you who don't want to see full screen, just press Shift F. Okay, like that. Okay, and now you'll be able to see different contrast adjustment on a clip that is shot the same way. It has different impact. Do you guys agree with me? Yeah? Yes. So again, this you see, by using these 4 different things, lift, Gama, gain, and contrast, pivot, you can tell a different story already. So you can use contrast to really to actually establish the story of, like, is this a romantic story? Is it a soft story? Is this a very high impact story? Is this like a murder story? Okay, you can use contrast to actually tell story already. Okay, so now I'm sure we are all sick with this footage already. Okay, shall we go into the next footage? Okay. I'm going to show you a very nice footage that my friend shot, okay? So this is the eye footage, okay? Let me quickly do something to you, okay, for you, okay? By using, again, lift, Gama, gain only. So this was shot by my friend. His name is called Sam Koy, my friend. He's a cameraman, DOP. that owns a Blackmagic camera. Okay, so let me show you. So with using lift again, my first step is always lift. I darken it. Oh, sorry, this is too much. Okay, sorry, one more time. I darken. Okay, now you just look at the image. You don't have to, depends on the scope, it's fine. Okay, so just bring down your lift. Okay, and then you increase your gain. This is standard contrast adjustment, right? So you'll be able to see all of a sudden, okay, click bypass, you see before, after, like, wow, what a big difference already, right? And then now you play around your gamma, make it bright. You see that, wow, is this guy in heaven? Why is he so bright? But when we bring down gamma, suddenly see, wow, this story is so intense. Is this like a ghost story or something like that? Okay, by making it more dramatic, what you can work with is, you can decrease your gain a bit to make it even darker. It's like, I can barely see anything. Wow, what is going on? Wow. Okay, now you bring back up your gamma. Okay, now I can see more things. Still scary, still dark, but okay, I can see a bit of the eyes. Now you bring up your lift. Okay. Now I bring back everything up. Now I increase my lift, increase my gamma, increase my gain. Okay. Now this one is like, wow, overexposed, so bright. Okay. So this is the power of using lift gamma gain to address your contrast. Okay. Again, by using different footages, you can use the same lift gamma gain to do different things. All right. Very cool. Okay. But next thing I want to teach you is notes. Okay, note is a very powerful thing where you can actually rename them into the things that you do. Okay, so for example, we have been working on contrast. But what if, let's say, in the future, you have done so many different things already by using different notes, right? And you will forget what you do to your notes. Okay, so now everyone follow me. So go into your notes. Okay, just in case you forget. Right click on your note. Okay. Remember reset note grid, right? To reset whatever you have done. Now click on note label and then you'll be able to rename it. So we are going to call it contrast. Okay. So this is what we do. Contrast adjustment on a clip. Okay. This is renaming your notes. Okay. Very important. All right. And then there's also a way, let's say, for example, you have so many different notes already. What you can do is you can disable one by one. Okay, how you disable each and individual note is you click on the number here. So click. Okay, you can disable and enable. Okay, disable and enable. And the shortcut key is the shortcut key on this one is, I think it's Control D. Yes, correct. So for Windows, it's Control D. For Mac, it's Command D to disable your node, individual node. Okay? Very cool. Okay? So the next thing, before we go into a small break, and I would like everyone to actually do a bit of practice. Okay? Before we go into that, I want everyone to learn how to create a new node. Okay, so this is called a serial node. What we have been working on, serial node. How do we add a new node is, we go onto the top menu, click on color, nodes, okay, add serial node. This one works on both Mac and Windows, okay. Click on add serial node or either using shortcut key alternate S, all right. In Mac, I think is Control S. Yes, Control S. Okay, so you can create a new node by using that. Okay, go to color, nodes, add serial node, or either just click alternate S, alternate S, alternate S, alternate S, alternate S, alternate S, alternate S. Okay, we are actually going to cover saturation, temperature, and tint, which means we are going into the color session already. Just now we are actually mainly playing with brightness, luminance, okay? luminance, brightness, okay? Now we're going to color. Color will actually opens up another can of worm because it will create another form of feeling for your shots already, okay? It can contribute different kind of feel to your story. Remember just now our color theory? We have complementary, we have triadic, we have monochromatic, right? Okay, so here is where all this color theory comes to play. Let me show you. Okay, first, let me see my slide first. Which clip should I use? All right, let's go to the girl and balloon shot over here. All right, for some of you might be shot 4, but for some of you might be shot 1 or shot 5 or shot 7, shot 6, okay? So just go to the girl and balloon shot. Now, everybody, I would like you guys to practice again. Go to do your contrast first. And then I'll explain to you why. Why? Okay. If you guys want to, you can do a bit of your own adjustment. If you don't want to, you can just follow me and see what I do, okay? So now, what we are looking at the picture here with my scopes, let me show you my scopes here. Okay. Now it's telling me that I have a fairly flat and grayish image, right? It's not very eye-pleasing. So we are first going to adjust our contrast a bit, make her look stand out first, all right? All right, by increasing a bit of contrast, playing around with the pivot, something like that. I think it's quite nice, okay? And then now we play with our gain. So make it brighter, and then increase our gamma a bit, and then decrease our lift a bit. Wow, nice. Not bad already, okay? But what is lacking? Now what is lacking is that, let me show you the before. This one is lacking of color and brightness, contrast, right? Now we have the contrast. What is lacking? We are lacking the color. Now this footage looks dull, okay? So, again before, why we have to do our contrast first is that when we do contrast, it's not only affecting a bit on our brightness. When we increase our contrast, you can see more color pops up, correct or not? If you look at the graffiti here at the left side, at the before, it's very grayish, right? It's not pop, it's flat. But right now, when I increase my contrast, you see, I can see the blue now, okay? So the next step, what we are going to do after contrast is going to be our color correction, or either we just call it a, because it's not necessarily correction, I'll just say I will add on more colors and saturation into my shot, okay? So now we are going to learn how to rename the notes. Like what I showed you just now, right click, note label, let's call it contrast, and then create a new note for your color. We want to separate this adjustment at a separate layer so that we can tackle things differently at a different time, okay? Create a new note by going on up to the top menu, color, notes, add serial note, or either press alternate X. Make user option S. Yes, option S. Ayo, forget already. Okay, so remember everybody, now go to the second note. The first note is done. Okay, you want to move on to the second note. Okay, so now second note, what we have to do after contrast adjustment is saturation. All right, we want to increase the saturation in order for us to identify, actually, this shot is warm, it's cold, it's a bit weird green, or weird magenta purple-ish. All right, now we still cannot identify yet. But with my professional eyes, yes, I can already. But for all of us beginners, only then when we increase the saturation, we'll be able to solely identify what is the color temperature of this shot. So let's increase the saturation. Here. Go to your color wheel. Underneath your gain, you'll be able to see SAT, set. Set stands for saturation. Remember just now, I cover color, hue, saturation, luminance. That is the saturation we're talking about. Saturation is the intensity of a color. So let's increase the saturation of this clip. Click and drag to the right to increase the saturation. And immediately you'll be able to see, wow, now I can see her skin. right? Correct. Okay, I'll zoom in the shot a bit. If you guys are using a mouse, you guys can use your middle mouse thingy to scroll in, right? Okay, click on the middle mouse to move around the screen. Okay, and then go into your percentage viewer, your viewer here, top left, percentage, press fit to go back. For those of you who use mouse, use a Mac, like a keypad or something like that, you can use Command plus. For Windows user, is Control plus. Control plus minus to zoom in or zoom out, okay? So it will look like that. Control plus, Control minus, all right? And again, if you want to fit into view, like original, go to your top left of your viewer, click and you select fit, okay? Cool. Okay, come back to node. Okay, so now when after I increase my saturation, you'll be able to see the skin tone is already developed. Very nice. But overall, I feel it's so blue. It's like a beautiful girl going into like a gangster street like that. Okay, so it gives like this kind of impression already. Okay, if let's say I decrease my contrast, for example, right now, I'm going to decrease my gamma, okay? You feel like, she's in a dangerous place, correct or not? Okay, but I don't want that impression, okay? Now I increase my gamma back on my node 1 first, okay? I just demo it to you, okay? So now, after increased saturation 100%, you see all the colors. But right now, how do we change the color? First, we are going to use temperature. Okay, so remember just now, the lower slider here, there's page 1 and page 2, right? Page 1 has contrast, fever, saturation, hue, luminance mix. Go into page 2. On the page 2, the first option is temp and tint. Temp stands for temperature. For those of you who are photographers, you guys will sure know what is a color temperature. It's either warm or cold, correct or not? Based on your location, your lighting and things like that. Same thing here. This works exactly the same. Okay, so temperature is your I would say orange or either bluish. Okay, so now one thing is that I'm looking at this image here. It feels bluish. I want to make her look more warm and outgoing and the scene more friendly. So what I want to do is go to my temperature, decrease the bluish, meaning I'm increasing the warmth. Okay, how do we do that? Click and drag to the right. And instantly, by increasing the warmth, we are decreasing the cool temperature, right? And then now, if you want to compare, you can always click Control D to see before and after. So now it feels more like a sunset, golden sunset-ish feeling already, correct or not? Okay, this can already immediately, drastically improve or change the environment of your shot by just adjusting your temperature. If I want to make her more blue, like she's very emo like that, I can decrease my temperature. All right. Remember Revenant just now? Revenant also something like that, right? But this is too much lah. I just overdo it, okay? And then decrease my contrast a bit. Okay, something like that lah. Just now Revenant also something like that, blue, blue, green, green like that. Okay, but in order to make it look like Revenant, we have to change the tint. Okay, so what is tint? Tint is actually your color channel green or magenta. But honestly, it's actually cyan and magenta, okay? So if you go and play around tints, you'll be able to create something very different already, okay? Let's just play around, guys. Feel free to play around. You can increase the tints and it will look more magenta. Now it look like LA evening sky. Wow, okay, purple, purple like that. But if I change it to, if I decrease the tints, it looks, whoa, greenish golden feel. Isn't it interesting, guys? By just doing temperature, tint, and saturation, you'll be able to develop different moods already. Okay? And working with contrast straight away. you know that, oh, I want it to feel like darker, I want to feel brighter with this kind of color temperature, okay? So it gives a very, very different feeling, okay? So that is the power of using temperature and tints. And again, don't forget, you have to work on note 2 so that we can separate different adjustments. So let's say right now, if let's say I'm the colorist, you are the client, and then you sit at the back of me and then you say, babe, now I really like your color already. Can you go back and adjust your contrast and make things brighter or not? Can. Very easy. I always go back to my note 1 and make things brighter. And then your client will sit beside and say, well done, I really love it. It looks so cheerful already. Now I don't like the color. You go back to note 2 and change it. And then you go back to note 2 and change. And to create something, develop something that he likes or she likes. There you go. Okay? So immediately this feels very different already. Okay? Before, it's very dull. After, there's a certain mood already. It looks like a fashion film, honestly, I would say. Okay? So if I can do it, you also can do it. Okay? I can be colorist, you also can be a colorist. But again, this is very basic stuff. Okay? But again, this basic stuff are usually the main things that can help us improve our shots already. Okay? So next is, I want you to create a new note again by pressing alternate S. Try to learn to use all your shortcut key. It will make your work faster. Okay? Everybody still with me? I'm sure now everybody is like, wow, I don't want to listen already. I want to go into color grade. No. Don't. There are so many different options, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's just say you have already developed some kind of color temperature for your shot already, okay? But somehow, you will see like there are different kinds of colors in your shadow or midtone or highlight. For example, in this shot here, the girl with the balloon here, okay, I kind of feel the highlights here, it's a bit too greenish golden. I want it to look like a Malaysian kind of warm evening sunset, right? We have never seen gold greenish sunset in Malaysia here. This only appears in the morning. Now this looks like morning. I want it to look like evening, which is more orangey. So what can I do is that I can go into my gain here, okay? Now we are not going to work on a slider anymore. We are going into the color wheel. This is the most interesting thing, okay? Now I increase, okay, now I go to my gain here, okay? And then you click on this little round wheel here, drag into the orange side. And you will see all of a sudden like, wow, I can suddenly see an orange sunset already, okay? So let me show you the before and after. Oh wait, now I'm on the wrong note. Okay, again, go to my gain, push it to orange. Suddenly you will see, wow. See, before that is still a bit greenish, greenish like that, right? Greenish, yellowish. When I enable my new node, sudden, boom. Even my skin improves a lot. You can see, before, you see that, the skin tone is orange, yes, but it's already coming with a tint of yellow and green. But now with just a bit of adjustment on my gain, I just push it to orange, you immediately see, wow, the whole picture come to life, right? And not only that, this one now, with only my temperature and tint, she looks a bit more dull and blend in. But with my gain control, she looks very stand out straight away. Is that correct? Do you guys agree? If you guys agree with me, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, baby. Woohoo! Okay, but that is gain only, you know. There's two more. There's leaf and gamma. Okay, let me show you the difference. Okay, I'm going to create a new node again. Okay, before that, let's rename our node, guys. Keep it a good discipline to rename the node. Come on, let's do this. My second node is my temperature and tint. Okay, rename it properly. Okay, you can make your nodes bigger or smaller by pressing dragging the slider here, yeah. Okay, we're going to make it bigger so everyone can see it easily. Okay, So note 1 contrast, note 2 temperature and tint, and you can always pull and put anywhere you want your note, okay? They're very flexible. Wee, wee, wee. All right? Okay, note 3 is my gain. I want to show you the differences between leaf gamma and gain with color, okay? Bear with me. Now I want to create a new note. Okay, all right. And now I create a new note. Okay. For the gain note just now, note 3, everyone please disable it. Okay, and then I'll show you the difference between the adjustments. Okay, now go into note 4, rename it to gamma. There you go, gamma. So now instead of okay, now we are still going to push it to orange. Okay, so go to gamma, the second note from the left, the second color wheel from the left. Okay, push it to orange again. You can see a whole different feel, right? It's a little bit different. Yes, it's orange already, but it does not give me the very pop feel like just now. Okay, let me show you the difference. Okay, so this is just now. Okay, I'm going to create a new version. Oops, sorry. Okay, this is the gamma. Okay, I'm going into split screen. Okay, so the left is my gain pushing into orange, but this is my gamma pushing into my orange. As you can see, I'm affecting more of my skin tone, but the highlight parts are not very affected and it looks a little bit more bland, right? Because mid-tone is actually in the gray range, right? And as you can see, the girl here is really being shot very bright, and then also there's a bright area over here. So whatever we did on gamma in the mid-tone area, it was affected more on the, what is it called, the graffiti, the wall here, because they're in the mid-tone area. And then also the skin here, as you can see, the hands. See that this one is more natural, angmoh looking skin tone. But this has a very heavy orange already. Okay, doesn't look very nice, right? Okay, but now you can kind of see that what are the differences that gain and gamma is affecting. Okay, so this is gain pushing to orange, and this is gamma pushing to orange. Now I'm going to show you the third one option. Okay, the third version is my lift going into orange. Okay, I'm going to create a new version. All right, if you guys want to follow me, just right click on my clip here. Okay, create the local version, create a new version, version 3. Okay, or either the easiest way is Control Y for Windows user to create a new version. For Mac user, it's Command Y. Okay, all right. So I'm going to disable my node number 4, gamma again. Okay, and then create a new node, node 5. And then call it lift. And then I'm going to show you what is the difference when I push orange into the shot. All right, so now I'm in lift already. All right, version 3. And then I'm going to push my lift into orange. As you can see, wow, what a huge difference, right? Like, wait, what are you doing? It looks so awful. Oh my God, right? Okay, because remember, lift is your shadow. And when we have already increased our contrast and temperature and things like that, we have already developed and telling resolve the shot about the where is the highlight, where's the shadow, where's the mid-tone already. So now by using my lift here, I can easily see when I adjust something, oops, sorry, when I adjust something on my lift, immediately it goes into the shadow area, the dark area, as you can see here, right? All these here, and the most obvious one is here, the shadow in the wall, okay? The dark area here, okay? Let me show you the split screen, okay? So you'll be able to see 3 different versions. This is pushing orange into my gain, gamma, and lift. It affects different things, correct or not? Okay, so this is the interesting part. We can use lift, gamma, and gain to push to different colors at the same time so that we can create different color harmonies. Do you guys want to have a look on that? I'm sure you guys want to, right? Okay, so I'm going to create a new version again by pressing Command Y. Stick to the same shot, the girl with balloon shot, and I'm going to delete my note 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now I left 2 notes, contrast and temperature and tint. Okay, create a new note again, and then I'm going to call it color. Okay, this is now the part where we colorists can have fun. Okay, so if you guys want to, you guys can pay attention to the shot here. That what am I going to use? What am I going to do? Okay, so color first. I'm going into my gamma first. No, actually I want to go into my gain first. All right, to my gain, I want to push a bit of warmth so that she stands out more. Okay, put a bit of warmth. And nice, she already stands out immediately. But now, what if I want to create something like complementary look just now? Let me show you the slide again. How does a complementary look like, okay? Give me a minute. Where's my slide? Okay, and then color history. There you go. Color history. Go to my slides. Complementary. Aha! All right. I'm sure everybody remember this one, right? Wait, slideshow, current slide. Okay, let's try to create something like that. Okay, or okay, at least any of this lah, something like that. Very warm orange. And also very cold at the same time. This is the easiest thing to do in the DaVinci Resolve. All right? Okay, so let's go into it. So I've already pushed warmth into my gain already. So she looks very pop with a nice skin tone. Now, go into my lift. I want you guys to push lift into my cyan area, which is here, around here. Okay? So click and drag. Wow, you can see immediately like, whoa, oh my God, almost there, right? After you push your shadows into your cyan area or blue area, depends how you want it, and then your gamma push into orange. And then straight away, I am creating a orange and teal image with no time, okay? Before, after. All right, again, before, after. All right, isn't it amazing? By using Leaf Gamma again, you can straight away create something like a Hollywood look already, the blockbuster look. Again, that is just a look. You don't have to do this all the time. You can just keep things simple. This is just trying to make things look a bit more cool. Okay, but again, this kind of condition comes with a perfectly lit, perfectly balanced image. What I mean by perfectly balanced image, meaning the DOP already likes exactly how it should look like. So when I push science into shadow, it doesn't affect on my talent, you see. That's why she still can be very pop in orange color. When I push a bit of orange into the skin, into Gamma, it automatically applies into the skin tone because she's in mid-tones. But all the shadow areas here, you can see, it's now became cyan. So to make sure that whatever I push into my lift, which is my shadow, okay, doesn't affect her, is that they have to make sure she is brighter than the shadow area. And she's in the mid-tone area when DOP likes her, okay? So this is the power of using contrast to develop your shadow, mid-tones, and highlights already. When you have that, you use your Leaf Gamma and Gain to apply colors into it, so that all the colors will fall into the respective place according to the shot. I want to demo with you using this shot. Okay, this is the eye shot that I would say it can be universally applied with a lot of different color looks. Let me show you different versions of it. Okay, so again, usually what I'll do is contrast. On my note 1, I do a bit of contrast first. Not too much, just a bit. Okay, make it brighter with my gain, my gamma. Okay, now my lift, I bring down a bit. Now I feel that it's a bit too bright already. What I want to do is I want to go in my gain, bring down a bit, decrease the brightness a bit. Okay, something like that. Okay, excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, this is before and after. So right after I'm done with contrast, I rename my nodes and then create a new node. I'm going to increase my saturation. Okay, increase my saturation. So you can immediately see that there's a separation of the things in the shot. So now I can see clearly where is the skin color and my eyes are very pop out already. Before, very bland. After, skin colors are out. And then there's a weird blue in the eyebrows that makes people look a bit, I would say a bit uncomfortable, okay? All right, I'm going to label this as my saturation, okay? So in order to eliminate the weird blue in the shadow, I go into my lift now, and then I push a bit of orange or either, okay, let's say now, whatever in the blue here, we are going to eliminate the blue now, right? We're going to push it into the what is it called? The reverse way, no. What's the word? Huh?
Center?
Sorry?
Center, is it?
No, the opposite way, yes, correct, opposite, thank you. Okay, so now, because now we want to eliminate the blue, which is here, now we see the opposite, which is the orange. So in order to eliminate whatever here, we just push it towards here, okay? So push to orange a bit, okay, or either yellow a bit. You can see I straight away eliminate all the weird color blue, the weird blue in the shadow, right? Okay, before, after. So now it looks a bit more clean, all right? Now I don't want to catch out this node. I want this to keep it as it is. I'll just call it lift, all right? The great thing about this shot is that it's so, how do I say it? It's very, I can play a lot of different looks with this shot, okay? Because it's a close-up of an eye and it can tell, it will be able to tell a lot of story. First of all, I want to make it bluish first. So make it bluish, make it bluish, make it bluish. Okay? So this is only on my color. All right? Now, I want to stick to bluish, but I want to show you the difference on contrast. I want to create a new version. Okay? I'm going to create a new node again. All right? And then I want to make this a low contrast shot. Okay? So in order to make things low contrast, I will lift up my lift, my gamma, and my gain a bit. Make things softer. Okay? Or either just decrease my contrast here. Okay? And then now I create a new version. I'm going to increase the contrast of this shot. Okay? Increase my contrast. Make it bright. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to show you the different versions. You can see that it straight away gives very different feelings and moods. Okay. But the thing is, in version 2 now, I kind of feel that the flat one is a bit too flat already. So I want to show you the darker version of low contrast. Okay, so I want to create a new version from here first. Okay, reset. Okay, so now I want to make it a little bit dark. Okay, I increase my contrast, play with my pivot. All right. Okay, a bit too much, bring back a bit. All right, now I want to show you 4 different versions. Okay, with the same amount of blue applied, but different contrast, do you get different stories from here? Right, now I show you the warm version. Okay, we're going to create a new version, very quick. Okay, I delete this one first. Okay, very quick. Okay, reset my node graph. Okay, so now on my color, I want to push things to make things a bit warm. Okay. Okay, I think it's nice. Oh. Okay, cool. And then create a new version again. This is my warm version. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oops. Okay, so now I want to make things bright and soft. Bright. Okay, nice. This is great already. Okay, create a new version again. I want to make this low contrast a bit darker. Dark version. Okay. Okay, this is a bit too dark. Okay, cool. Before, after. Create a new version again. All right, I want to show you high contrast bright. Okay, and then another new version, low contrast but dark. Okay, I'm done. Let's look at the different versions. All right, so here you can see, wow, very different, right? Okay, so you can see that this is normal, this is dark, or this is actually quite similar, these two, and then this is extremely bright. Okay, so it gives a very different feel when we are playing with different contrasts and playing with different color temperatures. And now, another version, I want to play with mixed colors in shadow, midtones, and highlights, okay? So, in the new version again, okay? Okay, I want to put a bit of my lifts into my bluish, okay, cyan tones. Push a bit orange in my gamma, my gain. Okay, too much. Let's make it into, okay, make it to orange lah. All right, so show you a different version. There you go. Now you can see that, wow, I think this guy put out some weird makeup on the eyes, on the eyebrows, right? There's a weird greenish tones on the eyebrows, but then the skin tone still look very orangey. Okay, so this is the power of using colors and these different adjustments to create different looks and different moods. Okay, again, you have to ask yourself when you do a color grading, you want to ask yourself, what kind of mood I want my audience to feel? I want them to feel cold, warm, very romantic. Let me create a new romantic version for you guys. Okay. All right, romantic version. Romantic usually is soft and a bit pinkish. Okay, I want to reset everything. Okay, I want to make things bright first. Brightness. Okay, make things bright. Yes. Okay, and then push a bit of pink into my offset. Okay, I'm not going to use offset. No, I'm not teaching that yet, so I won't cover that. Okay, my gamma. Okay, no. Then my gain. Not bad. Okay, and then maybe decrease my saturation a bit. Okay, cool. All right, so these are the differences that you can play with, right? Okay. Okay, maybe this doesn't look too romantic like because it's just an eye. But if let's say this is like a, I don't know, maybe like in a different situation, it has a full, let's say the movie, what is the movie that, okay, Hotel what, not Transylvania, wait. Alamak, the Wes Anderson movie, what is it called? Do you guys remember? The one very pinkish one? I can't remember.
Yeah, Budapest, Gatsby.
Yes. The Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm so sorry, I only remember the hotel word. Okay, so if let's say this is a sequence in the Grand Budapest Hotel, I'm sure this sequence can easily fit in, okay, because everything is pink. Okay, so there is continuity involved already. So the last thing that we are going to learn today is the Challenger shot. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you guys, okay, when you guys shoot with your iPhone, your Canon camera and things like that, if you guys don't know how to use a lock profile, this is most probably the color that you guys will get, right? All the contrast is there, all the shadow and whatsoever is there. The color temperature is there, the saturation is maybe oversaturated a lot of times, right? Is that correct? Okay, so in order to reverse engineer, I need you guys to remember what you have learned today. First of all, when we receive a normal shot that's shot by a professional camera, we will use contrast to increase the contrast. We will increase the saturation, and then we will play around with the temperature, right? Correct? So in this case, in order for us to have a bit more of creative freedom to play around with the shot that has already colors applied in, burnt in, what we need to do is reverse engineering it. So now remember, when we learn with a log profile shot, a flat shot like that, first thing first, what do? Increase the contrast. So reverse engineer, now I want to decrease contrast. All right, so everybody, we go on to note 1, okay, and then name it decrease contrast. So in order to decrease contrast, very easy, just go to the contrast wheel, click and drag to the left. Okay, so you'll be able to see this is before, this is after. Okay, immediately your contrast is already decreased. Okay, maybe not too much lah. I think I'll overdo it a bit already. Okay, things are a little bit too bright, so what you do is you can bring down your gain a bit if you want to. Okay, bring down your gamma. Okay, bring down your lift or bring up a bit. It depends what you want to do. Okay, so you make things a bit more less contrasty. So from before, this is extremely contrasted. Okay, as you can see, the shadow here, there's no information, you can't really see already. To after. Okay, a bit more grayish tones. Okay, and then you create a new node. You are going to decrease saturation. So this is a very warm shot. And then the red here, I think is a bit too overkill already. So you just decrease a bit on the saturation, not too much. Probably like from 50 default number into 46, something like that. Okay, so bypass everything. We see that, oh, okay, now it feels a bit more normal. So now you can have the creative freedom of playing around with this shot already right now. So you create a new node. So now you can play around with a temperature, or you can straight away dive into leaf gamma gain to do different things that you like. So let's say this is a desert, right? So I just make it a bit more warm. Okay. And then use my gain to increase a bit of blue, maybe. Increase a bit of warmness in using my gamma, and then my lifts. Okay, push it into something like that. All right, and then now I kind of feel that now it feels a bit not so eye pleasing, right? So now what you can do is you can just increase a bit of the contrast, make things brighter. Okay, and then increase the saturation. Or either you want to decrease also can, depends on what you want to achieve. Okay, so something like that. So this is the before, this is the after. Okay, looks slightly different already, right? Okay, but you can see that I'm actually very limited with shots that already have burnt in color. Excuse me, because a lot of times when the colors are burnt in, I don't really have much information to extract it out from the shot. That's why I, as a colorist, I prefer to work on something like that, more neutral, more flat. I can do crazy things, okay? So if let's say, if you want to have a bit more creative freedom inside color grading, okay? No matter what camera you use to shoot, let's say, for example, in Canon, we usually bring down our saturation and my contrast and whatsoever in my profile, okay? In Sony camera, like A7S and whatnot, you can use the S-Log2 and S-Log3, okay? Or either, if let's say you are using phone, you have no choice, you can just apply this technique, but don't overshoot it to make it too bright or too dark, okay? Keep it always at normal, not too bright, not too dark, so that you can always reverse engineer however you want it, okay? So by using all the tools we learned today, I'm sure with things shot in iPhone, for example, you can also create a blockbuster look. Trust me, let me show you. And ta-da! It instantly looks like Mad Max Fury Road. Okay, so honestly, orange and teal is not the easiest look to create, but let's say if you want to preserve like skin tones and things like that, it might be a little bit hard and a little bit more technical. which we can cover later in a bit more in all the advanced class. Okay, so let me go through my slides a bit first. Yeah, slides. Okay, so we are done with reverse engineering, and let me show you one more look. Okay, so before we wrap up everything, I'd like to show you there's one more look that is very easy to create. Okay, which I'll call the Instagram filter look, or either the what is it called? Hipster look. Okay, I'm sure everybody know what hipster look looks like. The very lifted shadow, very grayish look, right? Okay, let me show you how. Okay, so first of all, you create a new look first. Okay, most important thing is that usually this kind of hipster look, they are more brownish and a bit desaturated. Okay, so first of all, I want to desaturate a bit first. Okay, and then we push a lot of warmth. Okay, so you can see that instantly it becomes something like that. Okay, and then we have to play a bit with our gamma and gain. Okay, so we have to go into our gamma, down a lot more. Oh, sorry, that's too much. Wait, okay, push a bit warm. Okay, all right. Okay, see, I'm constantly decreasing my gamma, increase my lift, decrease my gamma, increase my lift. All right, and then you can go into taste maybe by bringing your gain down, bring my gain up. Okay, make things warmer, and then desaturate it a bit more, and then you can play with your contrast. Aha! So this is the typical Instagram hipster look, a bit lah, something like that lah. Of course, if I want to play a bit more, yes, vintage look. Thank you, Kenlin. Yes. If I want to, I can always use my curve here to do more crazy adjustment, but today we won't be covering it. Okay, but in order to make things look really look like hipster look, it's actually this. Okay, something like that lah. There you go. This is the hipster look that usually people will apply. Okay, something like that. So a lot of times when you, especially when people who do wedding video and things like that, usually you see this kind of color. Okay, color wedding video, make things more. I'm still trying to get the feel, the look and feel. Now it's actually the blue sky is a bit kacau. But okay, here we go, something like that. All right, so this is how we actually do a bit of creative looks if you want to with different kind of tools. Okay, curves I won't cover today. I'm so sorry about that because we don't have enough time. And Myanmar to create like basic and also very nice looks, we can just work with our lift gamma gain, our contrast, our temperature, our tints. Okay, and then you will be able to actually create something like that already with whatever we have learned today. Now, I would like to show you some of the clips that we have already color graded today. Okay, let me show a more normal one. Okay, so a lot of times when we are done with color grading, right? This is a video. This is not a still picture. We have to always play back and then to feel. How do you feel about this shot? Okay, so let's play back. Okay, wow, crazy. Okay, so this shot has no color grade versions on it. Wait, let me select one version first. Okay, select crazy one. Okay, let's start from top again. Okay, you just play back and then see whether is it smooth or not, and then you see, wow, okay, this is what you have color graded. Wow, very golden and nice. Wow, impactful, intense. Okay, all right. Okay, so when you have done color grading, or maybe you have already done color for a shot, just play back and see how is your playback speed like, and then how does your color feel when you watch the playback as an ordinary audience. Just sit back, relax, and then just watch, and then you ask yourself, the color that I color graded, what kind of feel do I get? Okay, I think it feels very cold. I think it feels very warm. It fits what I want to bring out. Okay, great. Then you can move on the color and then do other things. Okay, so let's say if this is a sequence, right? This is your short film and shot at the same location. Okay, what we can do is we can always copy and paste all the colors into a shot. So for example, if you guys are using a mouse, okay, what you can do is you select this shot. Let's say for example here, the teenage girl shot that's not color graded yet at all, right? What you can do is you go to, you use a mouse to point at the challenger shot, okay? Click on your middle mouse click. And then it will automatically copy and paste whatever you have colored into the shot. Okay, let me do that again. Select this teenage girl shot. Use your mouse, point at the challenger shot. Use your middle mouse click. And then you'll be able to see your colors are automatically copied. Okay, for those of you who do not use a mouse, you have to right click. Okay, you have to select on the teenage girl again. Right click on the challenger shot and then apply grade. And then whatever is done on challenger shot will be automatically copied into the teenage girl shot. Okay? Or either, if let's say you, that's another way, okay? So if let's say you want to keep this, you can always right click on this shot. Let's say on the challenger shot, on the viewer, right click, grab still. Once I grab still, I have a still available in my gallery. And I go into my teenage girl shot. Okay, double click on the challenger shot that is in the gallery. Oh, sorry, right click, apply grade. Okay, so there are a few ways to do this. Okay, so first of all is use the middle click on the mouse. Second way is to right click on your challenger shot and then apply grade. Or either you can right click on the challenger shot, on the viewer, grab still, and then you get a still in your gallery. Okay, select your teenage girl shot, right click, apply grade. Okay, so these are the things that is going to be very useful if you guys are color grading like a short film that's shot in the same location. If you're already happy with all the colors that you do, okay, on the shot, you just copy paste, paste. And then you adjust according to taste later. For example, if let's say one shot is darker, you just make it brighter. If another shot is brighter, you just make it darker a bit to match back. Okay, it's quite straightforward. Or either if let's say you have one color grading note that you really want to bring over, what you do is, for example, I go into my hot air balloon shot. I have not done anything, but I want my contrast adjustment to be copied over to my hot air balloon shot. So what I do is I go to my girl balloon shot, select note 1, okay. For Windows user, Control-C, Mac user, Command-C, to copy your shot, your note. On my note 1, select first, Control-C or Command-C, make it hot air balloon, Command-V or Control-V to paste your contrast. So whatever you have done on your girl balloon contrast on note 1, paste it over in your hot air balloon shot. Okay, so this is another way to copy and paste individual notes. So to wrap up everything, I would say thank you, a huge thank you to everybody here that attend the 2 weeks class that is taught by Paul and I. And then there are a few things that I need you guys to pay attention to. First of all, keep practicing, okay? Number 2, don't forget whatever your grade needs to tell the story. It needs to be able to convey what your director wants to tell, your DOP wants to tell. What is the message behind it, okay? Is it a cold story? Is it a hot story? Where is it at? Is it in Africa, Thailand, or Malaysia? Or either Europe, European country, or US, okay? Do not post these shots online because it does not really belong to me. Some of these shots, they are downloaded from some of the camera test website, and some of them are actually from the tutorials I learned. So I'm just borrowing some of the shots. So if you can, just use it as a very good material to practice, but do not post these shots online, okay? Okay, so first of all, when I color grade a video now, okay, I usually use this lookup table because it just speeds things up. That is a very advanced way of working already. But in order to actually do everything manually one by one, I will definitely start everything again from all the contrast, leave gamma again, things like that. But not only what I do as a colorist is that we are not only targeting how our color look like. We need to actually show our clients how nice their footage is going to look like, how nice their model is going to look like, how bright the eye is going to be, okay? So for example, let's say I am giving myself a situation here. Okay, so let's say this is a male model in a Nivea project, okay? A Nivea, what is it called? The shampoo, either the deodorant brand, right? Nivea, okay? So, for example, again, as usual, I will always work with my contrast first. Okay, increase a bit of my contrast, increase my gain, increase my gamma, increase my lift. Okay, so something like that. First of all, I myself, my workflow is I want to keep everything bright first. Only then I bring things darker and darker in whenever I want to. Okay, and then I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to call it. Okay, I'm going to use a lot of advanced tools here, if you guys don't mind. So you guys will get confused, but don't worry. Just have a look at what I'm doing. Okay, and then I'm going to create a new node. And then I'm going to work by using offset to actually make my model here look a bit more lively by pushing everything into a bit warm-ish, orangey-ish, so the skin tone looks nice and beautiful. Usually I use a lot of offset. Okay, so this is the total before and after this bypass. Nice, skin tone is there. Before it's very bluish. You see my iris is very, very bluish. And after, natural, warm, and all the skin tone is back. Okay, and then at the same time, I will work with a bit of lift so that I want to create a bit of color contrast. So my shadow, I push a bit to bluer. Okay, so that I can get a bit of balance so it looks nice. Okay, so this is before and this is after. Okay, before, after. Okay, I'm gonna name this, let's say, balance. Okay, when I'm done, I will ask myself, okay, this is a nice starting point already. What am I gonna do? This is a Nivea project, and then I don't know what the white shot is and things like that, because when we start color grading, I need to see how does the white shot look like, and then only I match all the close-up shots. So in this case, I only have a close-up shot to work with. I need to give myself a situation. So in this case, I think I'm just going to keep everything nice and natural. Okay, so I am going to look at my scopes now. It's still a little bit in the mid-tones range. I want to make everything a bit more brighter, so that I want to use my gain and gamma to make things brighter a bit. So that my model will look like he's in a nice and very well-lit studio environment and shoot this commercial. Okay, something like that. Not bad. This is before, this is after. Now you see a bit bigger impact on the actor already. Okay, and the thing is, all my skin tone is there, everything is very nice. Okay, so now once I am done with this one, I'm going to go creative. Okay, so I'm going to create a new node again. I'm just going to call this brightness first. So you see, I have every little individual control in every single node. That's why all node will become a lot, and then it will become more heavy at the end of the day. Okay, so create a new node. I'm going to use the node that I did not teach today, which is called a parallel node. Basically meaning I'm using 3 different nodes here to refer to this node. So whatever I've done here, these are all my creative looks that I want to use to refer it to the same starting point. Okay, I know it's confusing, but stay with me. So right now, what I need to do is I need to key my skin tone by using qualifier. So I set my width, okay, so to make sure that everything stays on the skin. And then eliminate my eyes, okay, something like that, that's not bad. Oh, that's too much. Okay, blur my radius so that my key is very soft and nice and beautiful. Okay, very well. So I'm just gonna call this skin tone. I'm not doing anything yet, okay. And then I need to target more on a few things, maybe the eyes and then the skins and stuff like that. Okay. I am going to go with a bit of crazy colors first. Colors, okay. So my color grading, I want to push a bit of, Nivea is usually a bit more blue. Okay, so I need to pull a bit of blue tones into it. Okay. Something like that. Okay, remember just now I key my skin tone over here. So I want to bring my skin tone back. Oops, not too much. Something. Okay. Very well. Okay, then my orange. Cool. Okay. Before, after. Okay, a slight change. My color wise, I want to keep it blue. Okay, something like that. Okay. It's a little bit dirty, but I don't mind that yet. For now, it's fine. Okay, my colors. Okay. Okay, very well. Something like that. Okay, here we go. Okay, cool. All right. So this is basically whatever I've done to my colors, and then it's very blue. I have to bring my skin tone back, basically. Okay, so that now my skin tone doesn't look very weird. Okay, and then now what I want to do is, there is some kind of wrinkles and stuff over here. I want to soften it, okay? So I'm going to use my power window now. I can draw my own shape, okay? For example, here, okay? I think the wrinkles, I'm gonna keep it for later. What I'm doing is I'm going to brighten it up first. So for example here, it's a bit too dark already. I don't like it, okay? And then I'm going to soften my mask, and then I'm going to make it bright. Okay, something like that. There you go. Before, after. This is a huge change already, yeah? Okay, so this is what colorists usually do, okay? So we have to brighten something, also we have to darken something. But now at the same point is that this shot is actually on the eye, right? So what we have to do is we need to focus on the eye. So there are a lot of things that are so bright over here that I don't like, okay? So I need to create another new node, use a power window again, okay? Create a shape, like a small vignette like that, okay? But the thing is right now this is focusing on the eye. I need to actually invert the vignette, okay? To affect the outside and then to make things a bit darker. Okay, and then throw a bit orange in. Wow, okay. So this is the before, this is the after. I'm not done yet, okay? Okay, all right, this is fine, this is nice. All right, so now we actually have all the focus on the eye. Oops, sorry. All right, let's play back first one round and see. This is not bad. Okay, this is before of the vignette. Everything is so bright, I don't know where the focus is, and this is after. Now my bright part is actually at the eye and others are not so bright anymore, okay? And then right now, again, no matter male or female models, a lot of times, we don't want to see all these details, wrinkles and things like that, all this hair and stuff like that, right? So a lot of times, client will always ask us, hey, colorist, can you smoothen their skin? Okay, this is part of our job nowadays, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going down to my primary view, second page. You go to mid-tone detail. Okay, I'm selecting my skin tone node here, and then to soften it. All right, so now my model now doesn't look that old anymore. It looks a bit more younger, so that, this is the before, sorry, because it's combined with my skin tone color already. And this is after. As you can see now, we can slowly see that we have lesser details on all these little things now, okay? So mid-tone detail, minus 34, before, a bit rough, then after, okay, not too much. All right, something like that. There you go. Okay, very well. Okay, so something like that. And then right now, the thing is, client is telling me that, I want the inner eye, can you make it brighter? Can, no problem. This is part of our job, ma. No choice to do for you, no? Okay, so I'm going to draw an eye shape. Okay, something like that. I just want to affect the darker parts of the eye. All right. Okay, again, and then keep it soft. Okay, and then make it brighter. Okay, something like that. Okay, a bit too much already. Okay, and then let's say I want to change the color of inside of the eyes. Can I? I can. So I just push a bit of different colors into my Gama. Okay, let's try something more crazy. Wow. Okay, again, this is too much lah. I'm not gonna go for that. Okay. Something clean and nice.
Nice.
Okay, so this is the before, this is the after. Again, I think it's a bit too much, so I'm gonna dial back my Gama a bit. There you go, looks a bit more natural. But the thing is right now, the eye is actually opening and closing. So it's actually affecting where? It's affecting my outside. So I need to use a bit of keyframe, okay, to actually animate my color grade. So what happened here is that I want my effect here to be able to be seen only here. But when it's closed, I don't want my effect to be there. So what I need to do is I need to keyframe a little bit. Okay. So if Michelle is here, this is what I teach you just now about keyframing. So I'm gonna name it eyeball. Or iris, something like that. Okay. So this is the point where I want my grade to start fully comes in. Okay. Character 9. Mark keyframe, 100, go back here, okay, very well, 0, okay, there you go. So whatever that is on the outside is not affecting anymore because I already marked my opacity to 10%. When it's closing, the other eyes are closing, and then now it's opening, and you can see the effects comes to life, okay, and then let's see what else I can play. Okay, so a lot of times, clients will actually look at things that we usually cannot see, okay? And then they'll start telling us, bro, I actually don't like all this thing. Can you remove them for me? Okay, I will say, sure, can, no problem. So I'll do the same thing again. I'll use the power window, draw a line, okay. Draw a mask or something like that. Okay, soften it and then use my mid-tone detail to totally remove it. Okay, something like that. But of course, again, these some of the adjustments here are over the top, so don't do too much. Okay, something like that looks slightly better already. Okay, and let's just say the client say, okay, bro, I want something more crazy. Can you look at him or her? What other more crazy things you want to do? Or okay, actually, I want to remove something from the shop here. Can what are you going to remove? Okay, so the client is telling me that I don't like this thing. Can I remove this thing? Then I say, okay, lo, can I do for you, lo? Okay, lo, fine, you are client, ma. Whatever you say is correct. Okay, so I'm gonna create a power window again. Okay. Just gonna draw these little things. Again, I already very lazy to lion this guy already. What I'm going to do is I just gonna soften it so that you don't see the pimple anymore. Okay, something like that. But what if that guy actually says, hey, I can see your adjustment, not nice, and then you have to lion him. Okay, sorry. That is just a test. Okay. Again, I'm going to do something very crazy, which is my daily job. Okay, I am going to replicate some of the things from some other frames to remove that particular pimple. And there you go, something like that lah. Okay, and then my power window, make it less soft. All right, so that thing is gone. Okay, I'm sure my client is gonna be happy now, I guess. There you go. You don't even see what I do. Okay, so this is what happens in the color grading room, where we constantly have to solve client's request. Okay, so again, I'm demoing very, very, very advanced stuff. Of course, I have more crazy advanced stuff that I can do, but in order to keep everyone still okay, not overload with information, I'm going to stop here. So thank you, everyone. This is the end of our sharing session.
I have a question. Okay,
Sure.
I'm on a MacBook Pro 15. I'm just wondering whether the bottom screen can actually be customized, because you have a primary, which is the color wheel, and then you have the secondary, which is sizing, and then you have the other keyframe. I only have the primary, and it goes straight into the keyframe. Right now, I can only So how do I add a middle?
I see. So basically, you don't see the curves and things like that, no?
I can. Okay, for example, if I click on color wheel, what you have now is color wheel and curves. I only have color wheel.
Yes.
So I have to go and click on the curve to see the curve, but I can't see it both like you. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. May I know what year is your MacBook Pro?
Alamak. Wait now.
Is it like a slightly older one or the new one?
2016.
2016. Okay. If you want to have like the view like me, usually what I do is there are two things that we do. But first thing that we do is I go to workspace on top here. Do you see that on the DaVinci Resolve? Okay. And then you click on it, and then you just click on Reset UI Layout.
Reset UI. So click on Reset UI Layout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything change?
Yeah, but I also still have curves and keyframe. I don't have three, because you have three sections.
I see. Okay.
I don't know why I
think that one is the resolution of your screen already. It can be set in your Mac, which is quite easy. But I think for this section, because a lot of times we won't be able to use the, I call it the secondary section here, which is all the curves and things like that. So I think it's okay.
It's good enough.
Yes, it's good enough. Because these are just the tools that are available for us to see. So I think it's fine that we can't see it for now. Because anyhow, if you want to use, you can always click on that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And just a second question very quickly.
Yes,
when I imported the 6 clips, I did exactly what you did. But how come the order of my clips are not the same as yours?
Because it depends on our sorting system based on our edit page. So it really depends. But it's okay. As long as in our color page, you'll be able to see all these 6 clips, then it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline.
Just to ask you, your color material clips are in the format of MXF.
Correct, yes.
Does that mean that whatever clips that we want to do color, it has to be in MXF, or it can be any other? It can be any other format.
Okay. Let's say, okay, Jacqueline, I want to ask you first. What are the cameras do you have with you?
I'm not a very pro at it. I have my Fujifilm, and I sometimes take it with my Note 10.
Okay.
Note 10 Plus,
Nice. Okay. So usually these cameras, we call them the prosumer's cameras, okay? Either consumer cameras, okay? Or either your phone. So usually these cameras, they only shoot in .mp4 or .mov, which is H.264.
Yep.
Okay. So here, let's say .mxf is the format. Do you remember last week we covered this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So usually all the consumer cameras, they'll shoot in MOV, and then their codec here. As you can see, this is a professional codec called DNxHD. But for you, the consumer products will always shoot in H.264.
Correct.
Yes, okay. But DaVinci Resolve is great because it actually can read a lot of different formats, from consumer codecs into professional codecs. So it's a very wide range of things that we can receive. So if let's say you are doing editing in Resolve, rest assured that whatever you shoot with your Fujifilm or either your iPhone or either your Samsung Note 10, usually it should be able to access.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I just import the clip and I can be able to do that as well.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. You are very welcome, Jacqueline. Next question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canleen here, there are some leftover questions from the chat, so I'll read them out.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Is it possible to adjust exposure in an overexposed shot?
May I know who asked this question?
Do
you remember?
I try searching.
Okay.
It was me.
Okay.
Hi, who are you?
It was me here.
Sorry?
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Krishan.
Yep.
Hello. Oh,
Hey, Ben.
hi.
His name is Krishan.
Krishan. Hi, Krishan. Hello. Okay. First of all, I want to ask you, what is the camera that you use to shoot? Okay. Hello.
Krishan, you there?
Krishan.
Okay, because I didn't shoot, it was a shot that was given. Yeah, it was a shot that was given, so I don't know the camera brand.
I see. Okay. But what is the codec that you received? Do you know?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
If let's
quite
say,
long.
oh, it's quite long ago. Okay. Honestly, no matter what camera you use, honestly lah, if it's very overexposed, whatever camera they use, no matter how great it is, how expensive it is, we can never really recover it. Especially for skies or anything like regarding to your skin and things like that. If it's overexposed until become white, you cannot bring in any information at all. But let's say if you intentionally shoot a little bit overexposed, then some of the cameras that is meant to shoot like that, then we'll be able to bring it back. But for most of them, we cannot. Okay, but again, this is a very advanced question, but thank you very much, Krishnan. All right, next.
Next is, how do you see scopes on Mac?
It's the same thing actually. May I know who asked that question?
Sorry, I actually asked that, but I found it already, Doris.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Next.
and then next one, do you normally use a lot of notes or just those basic of 3?
I know who asked this. Eric Wong. Okay. Hi, Eric. Thank you. It depends on how good your computer processing is. Okay. Again, like I mentioned before, if let's say you are using DaVinci Resolve, right? DaVinci Resolve itself eats up a lot of processing power, like your GPU and things like that. Okay. So the more nodes you use, the more heavy it is. But it depends on the situation. If let's say a client have already shot it exactly like that, they want exactly like that, I won't use a lot of notes. But if let's say if I have a lot of crazy things to do, I can go up to 20 to 30 notes and they are doing all different things. Okay, does that answer your question, Eric?
Yep, cool.
Great, thank you, Eric. Are you a filmmaker yourself?
Huh?
Are you a filmmaker yourself?
Learning.
Sorry, you are?
Learning.
You're learning, great, congratulations. I hope this is beneficial for you. Thank you. All right, next question. Kristen.
Okay, next one is, my Note 10 Plus has HDR10 Plus video function. Does that work for cinematic shot?
Okay, let me see who asked this question. Okay, who asked
these
this
are quite
question?
recent. Jerry.
Oh, Jerry. Okay, Jerry Tan. Okay, hello, Jerry. HDR. Okay, again, these are very advanced things already. But honestly, I don't know how people shoot in HDR yet. And I don't know how does it really work. Okay? Okay, I myself know a bit how HDR works because I've learned all this when when I read through all the tutorials and the articles and things like that. But again, in Malaysia, if you want to do something HDR for HDR TV, there's only one place to do, which is Basecamp Films, because they are Netflix certified. Okay, they have their Dolby certified already. All their requirements, everything is for Dolby and for Netflix. Sorry, give me a drink of water first. Okay, but cinematic does not mean, okay, cinematic, this term is overused by any YouTuber in YouTube, Facebook, and whatsoever. This is extremely overused. I have to declare that. I'm very sorry, everyone. Okay. Cinematic, this word, is even overused in education, which I hate the most. Okay. Because it doesn't mean that when you shoot in a pro camera, it means cinematic. Cinematic is a form of, it's a craft that a DOP, a director, everyone on set working together and form something beautiful, something meaningful that has a story. That is cinematic to me. Okay, so HDR and all this doesn't mean that it's cinematic. As long as you use the right tool, you light it nicely, you light it accordingly for your subject, you have a different meaning, you have, you're honest to what you are doing, and you know what story you want to tell, and you do it accordingly, like your ideas and your philosophy, and that is cinematic. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, all right. I can take one more question, then I will have to move on already. Sorry, yeah? Okay, one more thing.
One more question. Just a question. When dealing with footage of people, how do you color grade correct to get natural skin tones?
Aha, okay. Who asked this question? Let me see.
This was where?
All these people are actually filmmakers. Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Again. Okay. Hi, Kristen. Okay. So, again, it depends on what kind of footage you're dealing with. Usually, I will have to do some, let's say if I shoot on a good camera, usually the skin tone is there. But if let's say I want to go crazy, I have to bring it back some of the skin tones. Okay. But usually skin tones sit in the middle of the scopes here. Because skin tone is middle tones, where we really need to see it in the shot unless you purposely make it dark. Okay? There's no definite rule. Again, there's no definite rule. But when we shoot someone in for skin tone like a commercial and things like that, we don't go too bright. We usually stick around 640 to 384, something like that. This is just a rule of thumb. But again, rules are meant to be broken, especially in filmmaking. We break so much rules to do so many crazy things. Okay? So that is just a rule of thumb. Just remember that. Okay? I hope that answers your question. Okay, Kristen Imang. How far can you adjust without causing noise in that footage? Okay, again, this is a very advanced question. You guys are actually advanced. Huh? If let's say the footage has already have noise, whatever you do, it will always noise there. In fact, when we shoot, there's already a bit of noise. It's fine. But if let's say your noise is very heavy, what we always do is we increase the contrast so that we make our noise less visible. That is what we do, okay? But it's not very important. It depends on the situation, okay? Because noise, let's say if you are shooting like something in a very low light, there's a lot of noise, then we cannot avoid, okay? But let's say if you're using like a very high-end camera that can shoot very clean, then the noise is lesser, okay? So, Jerry, can phones shoot this kind of footage or GoPro? GoPro, yes, I think you can. But not all the phones can shoot in this kind of settings, okay? Usually, this kind of settings, the lowest that we can get, the lowest specs is actually all the DSLR. They have all the log profiles, okay? For Canon, you can download the Cine style. For the Sony Alpha cameras, you have the A7S and stuff like that, right? They have the S-Log2, S-Log3, okay? So actually, I have one thing to clarify, okay? All the footages here are actually all shot on professional cinema cameras. So this one is on the Blackmagic, okay? This one also on the Blackmagic. That's why you can see they're shot in flat. I'm not sure what this is shot on. And then this is a Panasonic, and this is an Arri Alexa, the most expensive camera, and then this, I'm not sure, okay? But this one comes with a bit of color already, okay? At the end of the day, I'm going to teach you how to apply contrast on the professional shot camera, and also a camera that's already shot footages with color. I will teach you how to reverse engineer, okay? But we need to work on the professional images first so that we understand how it works. Sorry, what is note again? Hi, Yi-Ching, are you here?
Yes, yes.
Hi, Yi-Ching, hello. Okay, Yi-Ching, I want to ask you, where are you from, huh?
I'm actually from SIBKL Mac, but I'm not a technical person lah.
I see, no worries. Are you a filmmaker or do you usually do anything like that? Color grading or things like that?
No.
No, okay,
asking.
no worries.
That's why I don't understand, there's no background.
Yes, no worries, no worries. Okay, let me explain to you. okay, notes is actually just a container that lets you do your adjustment. Okay, so let's say, okay, but do you edit anything before on like any other software? Or this is your first time using an editing software?
Yeah, first time.
Great, okay. So to clarify to other users, okay, to other participants, for let's say you're using Premiere Pro and things like that, right? Usually you're dealing with layers of color adjustment. But in color grading, professional color grading system like DaVinci Resolve, we use notes. But again, notes is just basically a container for you to store your information of your color adjustment. For example, what I did just now, my contrast lah, my leaf lah, my gamma lah, my gain lah, okay? And then notes can hold multiple different adjustments. For example, let's say I want to go into my blur tab. I can also do blur here. I can sharpen it, I can blur it at the same note. I can make everything into black and white, or either very colorful, or I want to change the colors and things like that. Everything can be happen here. So it's basically a container that stores your adjustments. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, Yi-Ching. Yes.
Beh Jacqueline here.
Hi, Jacqueline.
Yeah, so when you say it's a container to store information of color adjustment, so I can basically, let's say, load one based on whatever adjustments I made, I call it A, and then another one BC. So whenever I upload another clip, I can actually just go straight into node one, and then it sort of goes to that particular adjustment. Is that it?
Yes, correct. You are absolutely correct. But usually, in our professional world, what we do is that we have multiple adjustment, right? Like two different things. So we will separate into different notes. But let me show you. Don't be afraid. But usually my note is like that. Okay, wait. Then usually it's something like that.
Okay.
Okay, so these are very complicated stuff already, but don't worry about that, because today whatever we learn actually is very straightforward. So I will actually use I will suggest later, whatever we do on contrast, we stay on one note, but later we have another new session where we cover on like temperature and different color stuff, but not only on our contrast, our shadow and midtone and highlight stuff. That one we will create on a different note. So we separate things. So it's a little bit easier to work on like different things that we are working on. So actually, I forget to tell you guys that whatever we are working just now on contrast, leaf, gamma, gain, they are working solely on the brightness of an image. Not yet going into color yet, like your hue, the saturation. We are just working on luminance.
Luminance.
Yes, we are working on brightness only. We are not going into color yet. So usually I will keep my color in one note, and then my brightness, which is my contrast, in one note. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next one.
Okay, next one. How do we do keyframes for color grading? Like the color changes as the clip goes on.
Who asked this question?
Michelle.
Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Are you here, Michelle?
Yep, hi.
Hi, Michelle. Okay, first of all, I want to ask you, what makes you ask this question?
Just want to know the options to make a clip interesting, like if the need ever arises.
Yeah, okay. Actually, when we do keyframing, it's going to be a little bit complicated because DaVinci Resolve have, again, a lot of this software have multiple ways to do one thing. So it can be very, very complicated. But if you want to later, I can show you, but it's going to be just a quick run and maybe at the end of the session. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Can, yeah? Okay. But do you usually do these kind of things? Like color grading and things like that?
Yeah, on Premiere though. Never on
Premiere.
DaVinci. Yeah.
Okay. Premiere is a bit more easier to see, right? Because there is the keyframe and things like that. Yeah. And then you just mark, and then you will be able to like do this one on layer 1 and then layer 2, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Same thing goes to here. But here we are not using layers, we are just notes. I will show you later. Is that okay, Michelle?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, the next one.
Okay, next question also from Michelle.
Aha.
Is there a way to make the color grading on different screens nice? Like
Nice.
on my Mac screen, the color will look good, but on TV, it looks too orange.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, Michelle, this is a very, very good question. Honestly, all the professionals out there still having problems with this one. Okay, the reason why is nowadays, the screen technology has already, I won't say improve and also increase, both improve and increase. Why? Because every single brand have their own every single format and also their own standards. So one thing is that one of the complicated thing from last time and now is that last time only have one type of screen, which is CRT, cathode ray tube, right? Okay, cathode ray tube uses the same signal, we uses the same technology so that most of the screen will look exactly the same. But nowadays we have LCD screen, LED screen, OLED screen, we have IPS screen and whatsoever, there's so many. And all of them react to lights and the diodes in the screen. Oh, and also plasma. They react differently, okay? And not only that, nowadays, all the TV are so smart. I tell you, I hate them. They have all the cinema settings, they have the game settings, they have the standard settings, and all those things changes your colors differently. So what happened is that some of the brand, like for example, I think Panasonic or LG actually has specific settings for Netflix, which is called the Netflix settings. So what it does is that with these settings, whatever the filmmakers does to their shot and their color grade and things like that, it will show exactly on the TV when you're using the Netflix settings. It will show exactly what the filmmakers did. That is the great thing. But the thing is right now, I will tell you, even a Samsung screen and the iPhone screen, they can look different. Even some of their screens are actually from the same manufacturer. So technically, we cannot make, like for example, if I want to make my screen on the iPhone looks nice, but my Samsung might not look nice, and my Xiaomi might not look nice. Okay, so that is the main problem that we colorists are facing. So there is a way to actually make things look consistent in our environment, which is what we call calibration. We are using a very expensive equipment to calibrate our screen to make everything looks accurate and neutral. So wherever we go with all the standards now, it's either it will look very bad on some of the grandmother TV, or either look extremely saturated on like some of the high-end TV screens, or either look very weird on some of the weird settings. Okay, we cannot change the fact that every single screen looks different. If let's say I want to make every single screen looks the same, I will have to go to everyone's house to calibrate all their screen. So I cannot make sure that all the screen will look the same. So what I can say with your situation is, if let's say you have an iPhone and the TV, okay, your TV will usually use different settings, right? You can just set it exactly look like your iPhone or something like that, or your Mac. You can change the color, the temperature, and make it look a bit more matching. Okay? Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah.
Is it possible to isolate the subject and alter the background only?
Of course, but today we won't cover it because it's way too advanced already. Because even Leaf Gamma game itself is very sophisticated, so we won't cover qualifier at all today. But you can feel free to watch YouTube, or either in the future we have more advanced class, please feel free to join us again so that we can cover a bit more of that. But what you say, yes, it can be done. If you want to later, I can show you also later, all right? Okay, anybody else?
Oh,
Let me tell
someone
you
is
something.
asking, sorry.
Oh, yes, hi.
Andre is asking, what is the offset wheel for?
Hello, Andre. Okay, offset, huh?
Hi.
Okay. Offset is actually a extremly powerful tool that if I cover today, I can use the whole day to talk about it. But okay, in layman terms, Andre, offset is actually okay. Are you a photographer or something like that?
I occasionally I do take some drone photograph.
Okay. Do you work with Photoshop or things like that?
No, I'm quite a new.
I see. Okay. Have you used any like Premiere or like FCP to do color?
No.
No at all. Okay. So basically offset here. Okay. Remember just now when I said leaf, gamma, and gain, they are in like shadow, midtone, and highlight. Okay.
Yes, remember.
Offset.
Yeah.
Yes. Offset in basically it's when I adjust something in offset, it affects every single thing in the shadow, midtone, and highlight. Okay, so let me show you an example. Okay, so let's say right now I'm done with this shot already, right? The girl with balloon. My offset, let's say, if I change it to, let's say, drag it into orange, you can see that now even my shadow also gonna affected. Okay, so let me demo again. This is the before, and then when I push orange into offset, you can see that there's a huge change on the overall picture where you see everything is changing, every single thing. Because offset is actually not only on leaf or not only a shadow, midtone, highlights, it's covering every single signal, includes all your shadow, midtone, highlight, everything into together. It moves every single thing together. So in order to tell you in a very clear way is that I need to use waveform monitor. Okay, so let's say inside waveform monitor, I go back into my compound clip. Okay, this is the grayscale, remember? So just now when I work on my lifts, it's actually work on my shadow only. My gamma is my midtone only, and my gain is my highlight only. You see that, right? This is the relationship in between lift,
Yes.
gamma, and gain. But offset, when I drag, everything goes up. You see that? When I drag down, everything goes down. So this is the cool thing about offset. It's a bit complicated to use. It's usually used by the professional guys to do quick adjustment and also set looks. But today we won't go into offset yet because if I really want to explain it, I can take the whole day to explain it. But in layman terms, it's actually the master wheel. I will call it the master wheel that affects every single thing. If let's say you're in Photoshop, this is like the brightness adjustment. When you drag up the brightness, everything goes bright. Okay, so let me show you another clip. So let me show you another clip. Let's say I'm on my teenage girl shot. When I increase my offset, you can immediately see everything becomes very bright. And also you can see the background become grayish because everything is rising up together. If you see my scopes, you see? I'm not stretching my contrast. I'm just making things bright or making things dark. All right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, Beh.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. I'm going into just a few more questions before we move on. Yeah. Okay. Very quick. Brandon Yap. What are notes again? Hey. Okay. Hi, Brandon. Okay. If you remember just now throughout the class, what I talk about notes are actually a container that contains all your adjustment. And I'm now using notes to make my to separate my adjustments so that you won't do everything in one note and then you confuse yourself. I remember I do this here, but when I do this and then it also affects to this. Okay, so I want to separate them. Okay, so let's say when I do contrast, my leaf, gamma, gain, make it brighter or darker, increase or decrease my contrast, I always work on my note 1. Once I'm done, I will go into note 2, okay, and then I do only my saturation and also my temperature and tint so that I can develop like a look or either to make things look normal or things like that, okay? And then I can go into my third note, which is my color. I can go creative. I can go with my leaf, gamma, and gain colors, and then I can do whatever I want. I can push warm into my gamma and my gain, and then I can push like cold colors into my leaves, or either another way around. Okay, so in simple terms, they are just a container to contain your adjustments. Okay, does that answer your question? I guess, yeah. Okay, Cheryl, is this how colorists achieve the monochromatic tone? Cheryl, it depends on the situation. So for example here, this shot, actually the whole location has a lot of colors already. If let's say I really want to make it monochromatic, okay, it can look something like that. But in order to make it look like a very clean monochromatic, I have to remove a lot of colors or adjust a lot of colors to make them look exactly the same, so that they look like just one single shade of color. So the easier way to create monochromatic colors is actually this shot. Because there's not much of other colors, there's only like one yellow color light source. So you can easily, let me show you an example, yeah? So again here, you can only see like a monochromatic light source of yellow. But in that case, I can also make it blue by maybe using my temperature. Okay, not so much of an effect. I can use gain. Okay, monochromatic. I can also push it to neon. So that's why the intention of color grading is important. The light source that we have in real life gives us it's already a suggestion of where you are. So that's why all these colors are very important, because it relates to our memory colors. What we remember about neon lights is always at the pub, things like that, correct? Okay. So if I push it to green, you can see like, wow, this guy is like a demon, right? So this is the powerful tool about monochromatic colors, okay? But again, it depends on the location and the shot. So in order to have monochromatic, you need to have very little colors available in the shot, okay? I hope that answers your question. All right, one last question. Eric Wang, looks like offset focus specifically on the color can see in parade scope, while the leaf gamma gate impacts all color at a different light spectrum. Technically, you are correct, but offset is generally a very, very, very powerful tool where all the Hollywood colorists use to build looks. Because a lot of times when we use offset, it's actually at the very beginning. Okay, this is very advanced already. I won't cover it much, but in layman terms, when I push offset, it can straight away give me a huge impact of how it should look like. So for example, I'm going to show you here, okay, on this look, on this shot. No, I'm going to show you on the close-up eye. Okay, so on my eye shot, I can go into my offset, and then when I push to orange, you can see that everything becomes very orangey, includes the shadow, right? But then when I push into blue, you can see that, wow, I think I'm in a very cold country here, and then all my, even my eyebrows here, the shadow area become very blue. But the thing is, if I'm using leaf gamma and gain, I can target on different kinds of spectrums like this. Okay, again, all these different things doesn't make sense because you need to establish the contrast first to tell the resolve that the shot has already clear shadows, clear midtones, clear highlights, and then you create a new node, and then only you throw in colors into their each respective spectrum. Okay, so as you can see now, all my shadows are already now very bluish, and then all my highlights are now warm like that. Okay, so this is how we work in DaVinci Resolve. So we have to expand our contrast first, only we work with our color.
Hi, Beh, Eric here. Quick question.
Hi, yes.
Under the primary wheel, then there's the bar, then there's log. What's the difference of log?
Okay, log is actually designed to be very particular on specific shadow, midtones, and highlight tones only. This one I'll need to show you in compound clip again. So this is the grayscale. Remember just now, when we play around with our waveform monitor, our leaf gamma gate on my scopes, okay? You see, when I play my leaf, everything is lifted, right? And then it goes into my midtones and my highlights. Is that correct? But if I'm in log, on shadow, midtone, highlights, now you have to observe here. I'm in shadow. Do you see the difference? I'm solely only affecting my shadow area only. I'm not overlapping into my midtones and highlight. That's why a lot of times I myself will use these kind of things, but I will not suggest any beginners to use shadow, midtones, and highlights first. I would recommend you guys to use leaf, gamma, and gain, so that it's a bit easier to work on things and all the outcomes will usually look a bit more clean. Okay? All right, next question. Okay, Yi Qing have a question. So any color grading will apply to the whole clip? No changes within the same clip if the subject walks into different light setting? Yes, correct. So actually, if let's say if this whole short film is shot at the same location, same setting, you can always just copy and paste. But if let's say, because you see now, whatever I've done to my challenger is meant for my challenger. If I paste on my teenage girl, it will just look out of place because the exposure settings, the contrast, everything is different. So that's why not all copy paste will work the same way. Okay, so you still, some of the shot you still have to do manually. That is why I have to teach you all these things about color grading, about the leaf gamma gain and things like that, so that you can always replicate the same settings, not the same settings to look the same. You have to replicate the workflow so that you look exactly the same. For example, if let's say you want to match your teenage girl to a girl balloon shot like that, you have already learned how to use leaf gamma gain, contrast and temperature. You can always try to replicate something like that by referring to this picture. Okay, so it's not very tough. But of course, there will be some differences in terms of like your sets and things like that. But you can always try to match it to look a bit seamlessly. Okay, cool. Thank you, Yi Qing. I hope that answered your question. Is Michelle still here?
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle. Okay, just now I actually promised you that I wanted to show you about what is it called, the keyframing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will show you how, but I'm just going to do it in a simple way. Is that okay?
Yep, go for it. Thanks.
Okay, so sure. So first of all, like as usual, when we do color grading, what we need to do is contrast. Okay, I'm just gonna extend my contrast first. Okay, on this teenage girl shot. Okay, so something like that, right? And then increase a bit saturation. I'm just going to work everything on one note so it's easier. Okay. Okay, all right, so something like that. Okay, so now what I need to do is that I want to have another grade, so I have something for me to like to do some keyframing, correct? So I'm going to copy this grade and then bring it over to a new node. Oh, I heard the dog bark sound. Sounds like a very small dog. Okay, so cool. So here we are. I'm going to reset all my leaf gamma gain. I'm just going to keep my my contrast only. But the thing is, right now when I paste this, it's going to look like have a double adjustment. This is normal because right now actually I wanted to give a different look from what I've created earlier, which is something like that. Okay. I want to give a different feel. So now this shot is kind of warm. So just now, let's have a look again. So just now the shot I created was a bit neutral and a bit cold. And then now I want to make something warm, for example. Okay, something like that. Increase a bit of saturation again. Okay, so Michelle, so for example, let's say right now, I want to use this shot now, okay, to change this look into this look, right? So what I need to do is, I will have to make use of a few different things, okay? So first of all, I need my keyframes here, and then I also need note key output, okay? This is a little bit very advanced, but okay, first of all, I need to know, do you know what is opacity?
Yep.
Okay, great. So let me play back first with this shot. So we will decide where is the middle point and where is the end point. Okay, let's play back. Okay, so this clip, this one here, this thing over here, this button over here, is actually a loop button. So you can just play and then you just keep looping and looping. Okay, so she actually smiles a little bit. Okay, so let's say from here onwards, I want from here, from the starting point, I want it cold, and then at some point, maybe, okay, here onwards, it started to become the warm shot, okay? So what I need to do is I need to identify where is the point I need it to be changed. So first of all, I will need to mark a few keyframes at the first node. So we need to go into my keyframe node, okay? I can expand it by pressing this button here, okay? This expand button to make my keyframes a bit more longer, okay? So I need to identify where is the changing point, okay? So first, go into character 1. Character 1 is basically your node 1. I'll mark add dynamic keyframe, okay? So let's say I want my this adjustment here to end, and then here this is where I want it to come in, the second node to come in. But I don't want to worry about second node first because that one can be adjusted later. First thing first is always your first node, okay? So this is the point that I want it to be ended, okay? So once you're done with marking a keyframe, we need to go to key output on the node key. On gain, just punch in the number by double clicking the gain and then key in 0. So it will go back into the adjustment of technically no adjustment here, so that I can show the nice color of this particular node. Okay. So now technically now when I'm marking on 0%, meaning no adjustment is applied. All right. And then I need to find a key point to start fading out. Okay. So let's say, for example, let's play back the shot again. Okay. So here, I want the look to start change here. So how do I do it? So I need to mark a keyframe again, add keyframe, and then, okay, and then on my key output, I need to change here because just now on the first keyframe on the right hand side here, I already marked to 0. I need to go back to the keyframe in the middle here. I need to change the key output into number 1, which is opacity 100%. And when I'm on 0, it's technically opacity 0%. And then when start playback, you will see that from got color fade into no color. So now reversed, I need to apply this to my second node, which is the warm version. Okay, so what I need to do now is I disable this first, no worries. So now instead of opacity from 100% to 0%, I want to do it reversely, which is 0 to 100. So now I need to mark a keyframe at the same point, in point here on character 2. Key output, mark 0. Go to the next output here. Okay, add a dynamic frame. Make it to number 1. All right. Okay, so let's try. Okay. Oh, wait a minute, I was selecting wrong node, but no worries, we can always do that by selecting the correct node. Okay, and then make sure that your key output here, okay, change it to 0. And then at the same out point of node 1, which is the in point of where the color will fully become 100% for node 2, at the same point here, okay, so now you play back. Okay, so now because I've already disabled my color on node 1, so that's why here, when we see it's no color grade, slowly fades into color grade. So now let's look at the effects of only node 1 first. Wait, Control Z. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now I want to show you again my, okay. I need to redo something here. Okay, great. Okay, so now, just now when we play back the second note, right? There is no adjustment, correct or not? Like, there's no adjustment because I already marked a keyframe of 0% here. And then only until here, it starts to fade in. So when I go into my note 1, which is the cool version, cold, and 1. Okay, so when I go into my cold version, I have it 100% and it starts to fade in and fade out from 100% into 0% here. Okay. Okay, cool. So now I am going to show you the effect of keyframing changing color grades. Okay, so this is how it works. So from warm, slowly changing from cold, changing to warm. So this is using keyframe in DaVinci Resolve. But usually we will use it when in a slightly longer distance shot, duration shot, or either a part where it has a sudden color change, we can always use this. Or either we want to do like something like a mood change all of a sudden for a comedy effect or something like that, we can always use this. But to actually learn keyframing, by showing you this only is not enough, because you have to constantly work with keyframe and also the note key tag here. So you need to look for more tutorials to understand a bit more how do you work with it. Because it can be confusing when you're selecting the wrong note. So you just need to find out what you're selecting and what you're doing. Does that answer your question, Michelle?
Yep, it does. Sorry, follow-up question. Does these keyframes, like what you taught, does it work for other things? Like, let's say if you want to edit a clip without the color grade, like you just want the opacity to come in and out, is it the same technique?
You mean a physical clip?
Yeah, just a physical clip, like fade in, fade out, that kind of thing. If you just want to do it manually, yeah.
So if it's edit, right? So because that is in the edit page, right? For example, something like that, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have here is that in the edit page, we actually have like a fader on top here. So we just fade like this. So when we play, for example, on this slow-mo shot, and then, play back, and then you slowly fade into the challenger shot.
Right, okay.
Yes, so this one doesn't require keyframe unless you want to do something more advanced. But this is the very simple way to use this fader to actually do a quick fade in and fade out. Okay? Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Because the color page, this keyframe is built for the notes in the color page. It's not built for the edit page. If you want to do anything keyframing, it's always in the inspector where you click on all these little diamond here.
Yeah, because I tried it yesterday and I'm like, I can't find the little dots. And I'm like, how do I move the little dots?
Okay. If you want to view the little dots, you need to mark a dot here. So for example, zoom in, right? Okay, let's say here. I mark the zoom in. And then instantly you will see like this thing appear, right? You see when I don't have a keyframe, and then look at the challenger shot over here, there will be something appear. It's like a diamond shape. Okay, so when you click on that, when you already mark a keyframe, then you can click on this thing and then you'll be able to see what are the keyframes that you're going to do. For example, here, and then you just change the zoom, and another keyframe is already automatically marked, and then play. Then you see a slow zoom in.
Okay.
There you go. Okay,
right,
so you can hide it or show it by clicking the small little button here. It's actually a little bit similar to like Final Cut or Premiere, but to actually activate it, you need to go into the inspector and actually mark a keyframe first. Okay?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, cool.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, fantastic. So I think we have 3 more questions, so I'm going to go with the next one. It's from Yi Ching. So she asked you, if you want to have different color grading within a single clip, you will need to manually cut the clip into 2 portions and then adjust the color grading separately. Is that the question? Yeah, that's the question.
Yes, technically, yes, you can. So a lot of times, let's say, for example, if you want like, okay, let's say, for example, I'm going to use the same, the slow-mo shot again, all right? So the easiest way to, let's say, for example, from this shot, okay? So for example, right now, the director tells me, I want this shot from warm, suddenly fade into a very cold image, okay? So what I do is, I will have to copy and paste or either just simply duplicate it, all right? So how to duplicate is the clip from video 1 to video 2 track is that I will hold alternate in Windows, and then I think in Mac is the Option key. You have to click on the keyboard, hold the Option key, click and drag, and then you'll be able to duplicate. And then depends on where you want to start fade in, and then use the same fader here, for example, and then I'll go into my color grade page, okay? first of all, I need to identify which is the clip that's lower and higher. So I will need my timeline, and then I need to select, oh, so clip number 4 is actually the one on the top. Clip number 3 is actually on the lower. So I want the lower to be from warm and then fit into the cold. So I will need to change my color grade here first. Okay, when I go back to here, okay. Something like that first lah, huh? Okay, so I go back to my edit page and then let's look at the effects. Okay. All right, so let's go back. From warm, slowly fade into cold color. So this is one of the way that we can actually use to do like a more simple and fast forward way to actually do this. But if you want to have every single control inside your color page, you can use the same method that I demoed just now, which is a bit more complicated by using different nodes and different keyframes. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, next question, please.
Okay, so the next question I think is more directed to Paul.
Paul.
Okay, so do you apply all these on sermon or worship video? This is from Jerry.
Okay, Jerry, thank you for the question. Do I apply all this on sermon video? I think all videos are pretty much the same. For us now, during the MCO, we receive footages from our pastors where they are doing like 2 shots and 2 takes. I mean, you also understand that different cameras, they actually have different ISO, different color, warm and temperature, and plus a lot of them are actually on auto mode. So definitely you need a very basic color adjustment, white balance control, and things like that. We do that. And but I'll be very honest with you, we are still moving forward. The reason why we initially want to do this MacsterClass is because we are looking at why stop at just, you know, basic color temperature control when we can actually enhance. The thing about the SIBKL ministry team, the Mac team, is that we have other special projects. So we are thinking about how to elevate the next level where we're gonna bring color to the next level, not just normalize it, but to enhance that. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, we have been doing color correcting actually in Premiere itself also. Yes, but I am trying to have this course for us just to learn a better way of streamlining into a better workflow for a better, stronger color control. And to be honest, actually, Resolve has a better control over Premiere Pro. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
Okay, third question, I believe this is also for Paul. How do you plan from beginning to the end? Let's say the music video that you did, I believe it's referring to the Raise a Hallelujah video.
Okay. I mean, how do I plan? This is actually a very big, it's a very big topic. I don't know how do I cramp it under a 1 minute or 2 minute answer. But basically is that to tell you the truth, I've been practicing filmmaking for many years already. So so I understand a lot of workflow, and I actually will tell directors and all. I tell a lot of filmmakers, right, that it's very important that a filmmaker understands from beginning until the end. All right. So so from the scripting part, the ideation part process, you need to understand how that works. Yeah, and then you need to understand how ISO works, how camera works, how lighting works, how it will affect, and the most importantly also is you need to understand how editing works, which is something that I will tell you honestly, a lot of filmmakers, they actually ignore the idea of editing. So the thing about editing is that when you know editing, when you direct, you already can start to identify the problems when it comes to editing already. I will tell you something very scary because this is a very hard question to answer. People ask me how many days we took for us to finish. We shot 1 afternoon using a Zoom call. And we edited within 3 days and it was done. For some people, it was very fast. But the fact is that what people don't realize that it took me quite many years to practice and to reach until that point where, okay, let's do this and that, all right, and reaches there. So it comes with a lot of practice and experience, all right. And also the planning is very important. We sat down with it's a collaborative process. I think what you saw from Bear is that I will sit down with him, discuss about color correction and grading in the scene, how we want it to be, right? So for that music video, we had to sit down and understand what is the music, that mood, and how we're gonna do it. You need to understand everything. It's like studying a new subject. Every time you have a blank canvas, okay, and you have a lot of people together with you, so we have to sit down and ask, like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Which direction are we going for? And how will the music like, and how is the music workflow is gonna be? It's a collaborative process actually. So there were a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of times I think my ministry pastor, which is Miranda, she will see me doing this. 𝐼𝐁𝐿, because constantly thinking about things like how. So that's a common process that we do. So I don't know whether that answers your question, but yeah, that is our usual flow. But I think it's very important. Again, my belief is that the director at least need to know something about everything. I challenge myself to learn visual effects. Surprisingly, now people think that it is my main kind of skill or criteria or what. But actually, it wasn't. It was just me trying to explore. But because from editing point of view, I wanted to understand visual effects. But I started editing because I want to understand, as a director, how editing works. Then it slowly evolved there. So it is a snowballing effect. So you need to know basically as many as you can, so that you have that knowledge to guide your team to help. Because let's face it, in Malaysia, we are not that privileged, because in US, Sister Hollywood, they have a VFX supervisor, visual effects supervisor, they have a sound supervisor. I mean, everyone has a diploma, but for us, we try to understand the process as much as possible. So yeah, that.
All right.
I think we got one last question from Kiefer.
Hi, Kiefer.
Hello. What are the benefits of working with raw footage as a colorist? Is it just more information and control?
Hello, Kiefer. Okay, let me tell you something. Okay, guys, Kiefer is a filmmaker also. That's why he is asking me all these questions, advanced questions. So don't be afraid. And then also Kiefer also owns a Blackmagic pocket camera, so that that camera is a beast that can shoot raw in such a small camera. Okay, so what are the benefits working with raw footage, right? So the benefits of working with raw footage, yes, I can have like have really a lot of information inside the clip, and I can technically I can really do a lot of things. I can be very free, and then skin tones are usually very beautiful and pretty and preserved very well. I think not only that also, because raw also have I would say the identity. Why do I say that? Is because that, for example, Blackmagic raw itself, it carries very good skin tone, and it has a very soft roll off on almost every single thing. I just don't know how to explain. Like if you compare Red Raw and like Blackmagic Raw, it just feels very different. Like I mean, they are both very high quality, but the playback quality itself is very different already. That is why I myself like Blackmagic Raw a little bit more, because it offers me a very good playback even though it's a raw format. And then also because the debayering and everything is actually done by the camera itself, so it actually cuts down a lot of my work on my resource processing, so that I can have a very good playback. And to really answer a question, I will just give you a big yes. It has a lot of information and a lot of control. I can do a lot more things. But again, all these things that if you want me to like brighten something and darken something, especially on foreground and background, all those things needs to be lighted exactly how the DOP wants it, or else we will need to do a lot of different things to just make things look nice. So in order to make our life easier, don't just shoot on raw and assume we have a lot of controls. So the DP needs to give their input on set by telling us, okay, guys, this is what I sort of want. You just shoot accordingly, and then you just help me to make things look better in the post. So yeah, that is why we love raw. Yeah, But again, the DOP skill is very important. All right.
Yeah, from Latasha, how can we save a grainy, noisy video shot at night, or does the quality really just depend on the camera?
I see. Okay, in this case, actually, if you want to de-noise, right, the best way is actually to have the studio version and a very strong computer, and then you can go to, let me share screen with you. See, all right. Okay, so if let's say you have to do some denoising, right, what you need to do is you need to go to this page, the motion effects page, under temporal NR and spatial NR. They are two different kinds of noise reduction mode to help you to do some heavy noise reduction. Okay. The reason why here we are not showing is also because all of us are using the free version. So when I start using it, it will start telling me that, hey bro, you have reached a limitation WG result. So I cannot really show anything. Okay. But in order to really do noise reduction, you need to really have a strong computer, because without a strong computer, a lot of times we can't really play back properly. That is the main reason. Also, let me share you something to avoid having a very grainy footage. Number one is we need to identify what are the cameras that you're using and what is the location and condition you're shooting in. Okay, so a good camera lets you identify what are the ISO that you're using and what is the shutter that you're using and things like that. All those little things actually affects how good your footage is going to look. Because let's say if you are using a DSLR and you're shooting it with a very, very high ISO, actually not a DSLR, any camera, if you're shooting in a very, very high ISO, all the noise would naturally just pop out. So technically, you can't really save it anymore. You can save it by using noise reduction, but there are still all the very little noisy things that are there. And when we do noise reduction, all our footages will look very soft. So just try to avoid shooting very low light mode or dark mode, or either shoot with the proper ISO. Like for example, some of the cameras have information about what is your native ISO. Okay, so find that out, and that will actually help you to stick with the ISO and then just play with your aperture and things like that to control how bright or how dark your footage is. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
All right, thanks, Beh.
Yes, welcome. Yes, hi.
Jacqueline here.
What's up, Jacqueline?
I missed out the part about the keyframe just now because I had to step out for a while. So how do I create that keyframe so that I can have some the different parts of a clip so that it's not affected?
I see. Okay. Okay. Do you have like a situation?
Okay, for example, I don't know, I play around with things like hyperlapse of sunsets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then, certain parts is very bright. So I just want to make sure that some parts color is adjusted. Then as it gets darker,
So basically you're striving to keep things more consistent. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay. So for example, I'm going to take this as a sample over here. So for example, let's just say at this frame here, all right, it suddenly becomes darker and darker and darker, right? Okay. So what am I going to do is I'm going to create a new node. All right, create a new node.
Create a new node. Yeah.
Yes, and then you have to identify where is the point that it starts getting brighter or darker. Okay. So let's play back, and then we have to assume things. So for example, here. It starts getting darker here and then to the end, right? So what I have to do is I have to mark a keyframe at, let's say, this is character 4. Okay, character 4. Mark a keyframe. And the dynamic keyframe.
Oh, okay, hold on. Just let me just sort of do that so that I can...
Dynamic keyframe is usually used for like a slow fade in and fade out. But for static keyframe is more like, let's say you want to create like a thunder shock. Then you can use static keyframe to create thunder shock.
Sorry, how do I right click where?
Okay, so first of all, you have to select your node 4 first on your nodes.
Yes.
And then go to your keyframe tab. Are you on the keyframe tab?
Which one is the keyframe tab?
Okay, when you are
yes, okay, keyframe tab, yes.
Yeah, okay, very well. And then you have to ask yourself where is the point that you want to mark. So for example, I mark here. Okay. Then you have to tell yourself, okay, here is the point I want it to start to become brighter. And then where is you have to decide in and out point. That's very important. So in point is where your effect starts. End point is where your effect ends, and then it keeps staying there. Okay. So in this situation, I have to find the in point, which is here. Okay, maybe I put it further a bit lah. So and then end point is here, and then add another dynamic keyframe again.
Sorry, how did you get that dot? Because I don't have that.
You mean the keyframe?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to make sure that you have already selected
Okay,
note
I'm
4.
on note 4, yes.
Okay, and then use your mouse, come over to track character 4.
Character 4, yes.
Okay, right click.
Then I add dynamic. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So here is the cool thing is that you can always select where you want to put your keyframe later by click and drag the keyframe. So for example, you can move this here for an in point or as an out point. Okay, you can decide on your own. So for now, I want to put it here first.
Yeah.
Okay, so I come to my key output.
Do
you know opacity?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are used to doing editing and things like that, I'm sure you know what opacity. So opacity is technically key output in DaVinci Resolve here right now. Okay. So you have to go into key output.
Okay.
Go to gain.
Gain, yeah.
And then change this number value here from 1 to 0.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So meaning this is where it will start your effect coming in, because we don't want our effect coming in until the end point. This is noted. So I put my opacity at 0 first.
Yes.
Okay. And then now I go into maybe here. I mark another keyframe, add dynamic keyframe. Any point you want to, as long as it's not at the end. Okay. And then now, once you have done your add keyframe, you'll be seeing this triangle, right?
Yes.
Okay. Once you're done with that, your key output, you have to change it to 1. Gain 1.
Okay. The one that's on the out, the one that's on the going
correct.
Out, the out point.
Yeah. So your in point is 0, your out point is 1.
Is 1. Okay.
Yes. In a reverse situation, it will be you apply a effect and then it slowly fade out. Okay, so this is let your effect fade in. Now you have already marked your keyframe. I go into my keyframe in out frame first, which is where the effect will apply, and then now we start to do some correction. Okay, so let's say now it becomes darker already. Your shot. You want to make things brighter, so you can go into gamma or gain, either both of them to just make things brighter first.
Okay, so I adjust it at the out.
Correct. I mean, you can adjust anywhere, but when you have already marked your in and out point and the opacity, when you go into your out point, only you can see the effect. Or else, when your opacity is 0, whatever you adjust, you cannot see.
Okay, so then how do you, then once I do that, so the clip, when it runs, it will just
correct. Because you have already set your keyframe and also tell your keyframe to do the work of, hey, here you start to fade in, here you end your fade in. Okay, so here's the effect now. So this is before becomes brighter, play, and then it becomes brighter now. Okay, ta-da. There you go. So this is the effect of keyframing.
Okay, so I can watch it go.
Yeah, you can just loop it and then see how does it look like. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, are you able to do that on your side?
I think so, yeah. Because towards the end, I added the mid detail so that the clouds look clearer. You can see a lot more of the cloud movement.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.